My bad, y'all. Do y'all hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Somebody let me know yes or no if y'all can hear me. All right. Welcome to the live, y'all. My bad. I got a new microphone. I'm testing it out. Um, to all those joining us on YouTube, BIGBROLGND on TikTok, you can follow or tap the notification bell in the top right corner of my profile to know when we going live. Peace, Queen. What's going on? Always notice that I do the piece together. I found out that this is something the ancestors did. This is division, you know what I'm saying? So the ancestors, the ancient Egyptians, would do peace like this together. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that's cool. So I started throwing up the peace sign a little differently. You know, I rock with that. But anyway, welcome to the live, y'all. Words, yeah, we stopping the separation. Absolutely. You know, that's what this whole platform is about. I hope y'all been well. It's Thursday. We got one more day left in the standard work week. So I'm hoping y'all are blessed. You know what I'm saying? Sun kissed, sun baked. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the sun baked brothers and sisters. Them. You know what I'm saying? I'm letting my hair out today. Got the hair out today. You know what I'm saying? Let that melanin show. You know what I'm saying? If you in the crib right now, let your hair out, It's okay. We home. Even if you're not, you can let it out anywhere you at. I love to see it. I hope you got you a significant other that loves to see it. You know what I'm saying? Question number 4 might mess them up. WW is definitely the frosted females for those that are interested. You know what I'm saying? WW is for the frosted females. Everybody tap like, tap like. When I get to 2K likes, that's when I let people in here. That's when I let people come up and we talk. This is a productive discussion. It is not your normal live. I don't do debating. I don't debate with people that are anti-intellectual and want to only use anecdote. If you got some new to teach, then I like that. You know what I'm saying? Give me a resource. Back it up with something. You know what I'm saying? We all on the internet. I don't know what you do in your daily life, but the things that I talk about up here have been well studied by me for years. I'm just now sharing it with y'all. A lot of people in my Discord. We about to do a book club. If anybody wants to join us for our book club, we're reading a book by Isabel Wilkerson called Origin. I'm sorry, it's called The Origin of Our Discontents. It's called Cast, The Origin of Our Discontents. We're just getting started setting that up. We're going to be doing a book club. But anyway, we're talking about, do the frosted females benefit from patriarchy? That's a question that I feel like people get stumbled on because of the innocent bystander myth. How many of y'all know about the innocent bystander myth? Oh, you read that book, Banshee? You got to tell me about it. You got to tell. Oh man, I wish you was in the Discord. You got to tell me about that book because I want to know about it. You know what I'm saying? No, I said frosty. I said frosted females. I didn't say foxy. You know what I'm saying? I know some foxy women. You know what I'm saying? I know some foxy browns. I don't know about the females. I don't know about it. Frosted females. Yes, frosted. Um, I'm trying to get my East Coast accent in there. We say all. You know what I'm saying? Like coffee. Frosted. Frosted females. The name of the book is Cast with an E at the end. Caste. Cast. The Origin of Our Discontents. And a movie is coming out about it by director Ava DuVernay. Um, I'm interested to learn more about it. It's a book on anti-racism, not pro-blackness, so do not get it misconstrued. We can do both, but I would say it's like a 60-40 for me personally. A 60-40. I don't know. No, it's like a 80, it's like a 80-20. You know what I'm saying? I'm an anti-racist in my free time. You know what I'm saying? Definitely more focused on building with my community all day. I could put anti-racism down and just be pro-black all day. But I still live here in the United States with y'all. We still live here amongst those we still live here amongst our captors. That being the case, it does benefit us to be knowledgeable in how to defend ourselves against a system that seeks to vilify and destroy us. So we could talk about that. You know what I'm saying? We can learn more about that. But to be honest, whenever you're somewhere where everybody black, you don't got to worry about racism. So, as long as you in Babylon, that's the thing. That's something you're going to have to deal with. Okay. Someone down there is letting us know. I'm not pro anything, to be honest, when it comes to that whole Middle East situation. I'm definitely anti-colonialism, anti-imperialism, anti-specifically Western imperialism. I'm not pro anything over there, to be honest. I'm not pro anything in the Middle East. I'm not pro anything in the Middle East. I'm anti-colonialism. I'm anti-imperialism, but I'm not pro anything in the Middle East. I'm pro-black. That's a whole difference. I'm pro-African all day, but I'm not pro anything in the Middle East. I'm just anti-colonialism, taking people's land and subjugating them to what they called an open air prison. I just think it's a hood. And you know what I'm saying? So I could be anti what oppresses them without being pro them. Because I know when they have discussions about them that are pro them, they not thinking about us. They not saying like brother came up here last night and was saying when they have their meetings, you think they sitting around saying, what about black people? What are we gonna do? How are we gonna help them? I mean, I just saw how they unalived the young brother in Palestine, because they said that he switched sides on them. And if that's the case, I kind of can't judge people for dealing with a traitor the way they deal with them. But it definitely gave me flashbacks. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely looked like some what they might have did to Nat Turner. You know what I'm saying? He was a black man in a non-black land, and they called him a traitor and dealt with him in the worst way. I forgot his name. I think it was Muhammad something. I'm not like I'll be on Twitter watching little news clips. That was crazy. How they dealt with that young brother. So at the end of the day, I could be anti what oppresses the people. I'm definitely not pro any of that. And I don't think I ever heard Malcolm X, Huey Newton, Stokely Carmichael, or even for that fact, um, I don't know about Nelson Mandela. I look at him a little beneath Barack Obama. I mean, so I mean, maybe above Barack Obama. Nelson Mandela is a big disappointment, but um, yeah, I don't think I've ever heard any of these scholars say they were pro-Palestine. Never heard it. I've heard about solidarity. I've heard about the so-called solidarity. Um, you know, but I've never actually heard the phrase pro-Palestine come from any of their speeches. I could be wrong. Somebody could let me know. I haven't heard it. I'm not saying it hasn't been said. I haven't heard. I read, Malcolm X. What's the name of that paper he wrote on Palestine? I forgot the name of Malcolm X's paper on Palestine that quick. But I haven't heard them say they are pro-Palestine. I've heard them speak to the need to dismantle Western imperialism anywhere that it exists, in order for our people to be truly liberated. But also liberating our people would dismantle it anywhere it exists, because the oppression of our people is needed in order to keep it running. So again, I could just focus on my people. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you. Thanks for the love down there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't got to be pro Palestine. I just got to be pro black. And everything else is going to help. It's going to help the whole world. The whole world would benefit if they would just let black people be pro black, because the whole world is built on us. Like, it's built on our resources, it's built on our labor, it's built on our culture, it's built on our spiritual beliefs. It gets deep. Everything everyone does traces back in some way to Africa. Everything that makes a different ethnicity or cultural group unique is either rooted in some sort of group that came from Africa, or a group, or it's based on a group that came from Africa that did something because of what Africa was doing. So it's like it all in some way traces back. But anyway, y'all, I want to bring up somebody to speak to some of the questions, have a nice discussion. I got my microphone today, so I'm over here using it. I'm excited I got a microphone. I can finally speak without yelling to y'all. I'm gonna read some of the comments. What's going on, Roy? It's good. Like, I think I'm hoping my voice isn't like too loud. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so you can't support a race you're not a part of? Why is that a question? Why is that a question? Yo, who invited Katie Karen? Like, what's happening right now? What why would that be like that's such a weird question. What the hell? Like, do you go in like Asian people's lives and be like, when they're talking about what they want to do for their people, do you just join and say, well, you can't be pro black people? You go and stand up for us in their rooms? Do you go to like, what are you doing? Like, for real, like, what is that question? Hey man, I attract like this. My platform attracts the weirdest of them. Like, I'll be baffled. Like, go get a life. What are you doing? Why are you in here asking this? Like, you just go from live to live asking everyone to be pro everybody else? That's not what my post says. It's a question. Like, this is wild, man. It's not even what the post says. It don't say nothing about y'all. Intentionally. Intentionally. Like, all of these are questions. None of them say anything about anybody. These are all a bunch of questions. That is what they do. You're right. That's weird. That's weird. It's part of policing us. That's really what it is. It's part of their epigenetics to police us and make sure we're thinking what they want us to think. And if well, we have the freedom to think whatever we want. I'm gonna hop in your live. I'm gonna make sure you're holding up to the gospel standard. Make sure you're, righteous and by my God and my belief. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's not the God of the church, a lot of them haven't deconstructed Christianity enough to, not participate in the idea of oneness that we're all supposed to believe as they believe. So they just project that onto us to police us. It's really weird. It's just your epigenetics. It's literally white tea culture for you to be doing that. That's your culture. I understand. That's your culture. Your culture is police black people. Come to black spaces and ask them, like, because that's all you're doing. You know, that's all you're doing. Definitely can't leave us alone. Definitely can't leave us alone. I don't go in their spaces and bother any of them. I be seeing "Make America Great Again." Boys can't be women. All type of weird stuff they be talking about, like things about trans people and all this other stuff. And I'll be like even if you believe that, why are you preaching it though? Like, what are you trying to? Why are you once again policing people? Like I don't get that. Like me, when I make these topics, and if I'm preaching in some sense, it's in defense of my people during a current genocide. Like I'm actually doing something to raise awareness of our current situation to my people. It got nothing to do with y'all. You know, I be seeing them, and I just keep it moving. Like I don't got nothing to say. You feel me? I think it's weird that they got so much to say. I don't feel entitled. I don't have that entitlement. I don't feel it's my job. I don't feel, that sense of urgency, you know? Kind of weird. Y'all funny. Yo, who wants to come up here? Come on up. Let's get to these questions. Do frosted females benefit from patriarchy? Do the frosted females benefit from patriarchy? Name the ways they benefit. You know what I'm saying? To those that are more advanced, name the ways that they benefit. You know what I'm saying? The people that are deeper than a yes or a no. Is feminism harmful to black unity? Specifically, unity. Specifically, unity. That's why I put that there. Like, not just people, but to unity. Meaning, does it bring us together? Does it bring us together? Now, does respecting our sisters bring us together? Absolutely. 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 Shout out to the sisters, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the sisters. Absolutely. Making sure our sisters are protected in our personal lives. You know what I'm saying? Like just making sure sisters around us are safe. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that, sisters are able to be emotional, speak up, not having to always remain strong and apathetic in situations. Note that men also, and that's another thing. I wish I I would like to talk about that too. The whole strong black man thing also plays against brothers as well as part of patriarchy. In a similar way, that it plays against women. Same way women are hyper masculinized just for being black. Brothers is also hyper masculinized and told that they can't show emotion. And I don't mean crying. For some reason, whenever we talk about black men showing emotion, everybody goes straight to just crying. I mean anger. Can I get mad real quick? Can I get mad? I'm not going to throw nothing. I'm not going to hit nobody. But can I just talk like I'm mad without fearing for my life in a public setting? Like, can I, you know what I'm saying? Like, can I just not accept no bullshit without fear that, Katie's outside on the telephone dialing 911? Can I, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Can black men show emotion? You know what I'm saying? Like we always go to black men crying. It's true. We feel like we can't cry too. You feel me? What black patriarchy? I'm not sure what that question mean. I'm not sure what that question mean. I'm confused. How can feminism be harmful to the black community? You must be new here. Must be new here. Feminism is an ideology where frosted females sought to assimilate into the power structure built by their male counterparts. That is, assimilating into a white patriarchal system has never been the goal of black women. And it also has always been harmful to black women. So when black women become feminists and attempt to assimilate into that power structure as well, it is inherently dangerous to them and excludes them. That's why the feminist movement excluded black women in the first place, because they were seeking to assimilate into the the patriarchal power structure. Feminism is not about women having equal rights. It's about frosted females having equal rights to Mayflower men. That's what it's about. Because if it was about women having equal rights, then how come they not marching right now to have equal rights to a black woman? I never heard a feminist say, "I want to be equal to black women. I want to be equal to black women. I want to be treated the same way they're treated." All they've argued to do was be equal to white T men. That's what they want. That's the power structure that they want to co-opt. What's good, D? I see you in here. It might be a chill live
Holy Spirit activate.
tonight. You what's going on, D? Yeah, so um I haven't had this yet, but
You
I'm
haven't
just
had
up here
what? I
talking.
guess. Oh, okay.
No, no guests yet.
Hey, teed up.
It might be a chill night tonight. Like
Maybe it's good.
I felt the spirit was gonna be a chill night tonight. But
I'm sending hand hearts to everybody. So it's a chill night. So I can say, Holy Spirit, activate. Hello, hello, hello. Tech Talk. Hello.
Yo, what's up?
I'm gonna mute you, Tech Talk. We're gonna get to you in a moment. Oh, now everybody want to come up here. After the numbers go down, now everybody want to come up here.
Oh my God.
All right, who else coming up? Somebody said I said no pickles.
No pickles.
No pickles. Okay. All right.
Hey.
Let me let's reset, sister, if you don't mind.
I wasn't sure. You know, they popped up. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's put some emphasis on this. I know y'all love the Holy Spirit activate. I ain't finna give it to y'all though. Activate, Lord. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Well Bathed and Clean Show. Y'all, welcome in. We know y'all got in the tub today, maybe even last night, but probably again this morning. But hello, and welcome to Brother Legends Live. You guys, you are in Brother Legends Live. I need you to share the live. Share the live, you guys. Invite at least 5 people into the space. Let's have a moment to educate. I have met so many ignorant people on this app. It is time to share some books and some knowledge. Oh my God, but also some bath time. So go ahead and share the live. But most importantly, I need you guys to tap that screen. Can we get to 25K but aim for 50? Don't stop there. Tap it out like I was tapping that tail last night. I know somebody was getting tapped, but tap, 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 tap it up, power tap that screen. And at the end of the day, make sure you subscribe to Brother Legends Live. Subscribe here and on YouTube at Brother Legends Live. And don't forget to join the Discord, at b1initiative.org, where you can go, you can learn, and you can be great. You guys, it's time for Black people to elevate. But most importantly, I guess y'all feel y'all finna have to hand some people some rags, because it's time to clean up. But at the end of the day, tap the screen, share the live, touch the screen, don't stop. If the poons come up, send the pause. And for the most part, gift your host with the most. Brother Legends Live.
Appreciate you, sister. Thanks, y'all, for the tapping the screen. And shout out to my lovely co-host D for that great reset. I'm gonna go to the next guest, Tech Talk. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
25, black, he, him.
All right, talk to us.
All right. So for that first one up there, I think I wouldn't say it's necessarily like a benefit because patriarchy itself is just meant to benefit that one demographic. I will just say they don't suffer as much. Like they don't have as much negative connotations because they have such direct ties to YT men. So that's what I would say. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a benefit because anything that's made to work against you isn't benefiting you, in my opinion. And they still haven't really found a way to make it work in their favor per se. So I wouldn't say it's a benefit. I just say it's not hitting as hard as it hits the rest of us on that one.
Mm. Okay. What about the other ones?
So is feminism harmful to black unity? That's a tough one because I feel like feminism means different things to different people. If we're talking about the structure of it itself, I mean, we all know that it shouldn't need to exist, but nonetheless, it does. Um, I feel like for black women, I wouldn't consider it necessarily feminism. I feel like they have something else going on all on their own to try to draw attention within the community. Um, I know the word feminism is used for it, but it just doesn't feel the same because there's a difference between black women fighting for something and, other races of women fighting for something. I don't know, it's just a different energy to it. I don't know how to quite explain it though.
Okay. Um. Interesting. So, what is your definition of feminism?
Feminism, my definition of it is pretty much it's supposed to be well okay, I'll tell you what it's supposed to be, but then I'll tell you how I see it. It's supposed to be women standing up for equity within the community, and I feel like right now it's been kind of taken to more stand up for equality, but there's
Equality to who?
equality is supposed to be equality for women, but it's kind of hard to do that when you have some women that still oppress others. So you can't really have a system of oppression within a system that's supposed to break free of oppression.
So, would you say that women that oppress other women are acting in a patriarchal sense? Like, are they being patriarchal?
I don't know if it would be patriarchal or if it would just because I don't. They're not oppressing them because they're women. They're oppressing them because they're something other, as in like
Other
either
than
being
women?
black. Exactly. So I mean that would just
Hmm.
be another form of supremacy, not necessarily patriarchy, because I feel like that's something only men can push off on women.
Mm-hmm.
But for women to push it off on other women, it would have to be for something that's other than being a woman. Because
Mm.
that would require just women to hate the fact that they're women. And I don't think that's what that is. I think it's just more down the lines of racism and things like that.
So, who do privileged women want to be equal to?
Oh, white tea man, for sure.
Mm.
For sure.
Okay.
And when
Okay.
it comes down to it, I feel like there's this people think this is like one of my opinions. People think that black people want to be equal to YT people, and I'm like, no, not
Mm.
really. We just want to be us. Like we don't, because to be equal to you means that we want to be equal within your system, and we don't. At
Why
least
don't
I
we?
don't.
Why
Because
don't
it,
they?
I mean, look, it's trash. Like, let's be honest. Like, I don't even want to sugarcoat it. It's trash. Look what it's led to. It's not something that works for us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it
Mm-hmm.
does not work for us. It never has. It still doesn't. Like, there's
Mm.
never a point in time where it's been beneficial to us. So why would we want to be equal in a system that was never beneficial to us? I don't think black people should
So
ever
why
want to
why
be.
do why do why do thin-lipped frosted females want to be equal to a system that you said wasn't beneficial to them?
That's how the patriarchy works, I guess. When you break it down, it's kind of like that
Maybe,
indoctrination.
maybe, maybe, hear me out. Maybe they benefit. And that's why they fight to be included. Either that or you're saying they don't have common sense to not stick their hand in a blender.
I mean, at this point, I don't know if I would say they benefit. I would say maybe they want to benefit, and that's where that push is coming from.
I think they want the same rights as men, but I don't think when you talk about equality, you think because men have these rights and they didn't have these rights, that they don't benefit from patriarchy. When men, when Mayflower men were the only ones with the I with that had the ability to own a bank account, it was because frosted females didn't have to pay for anything. When only white T men could own businesses, it's because white T women didn't have to work. When so they why didn't they have to work? Because our ancestors was doing all the work. So why didn't they when only white T men had the right to vote? It's because white T women didn't have anything to fight against. They felt very comfortable and they benefited from the patriarchy. There was no such thing as a feminist or even women's rights movement until after enslaved people were freed. Then white T women saw that someone needed to work, and a lot of them were seeing that their white T men could work and make money, yet the old rules were still holding them back where they couldn't work. So now they wanted to work and make their own money. So what I'm trying to say is feminism at their level is about them having the same rights as men, but it's not about women being equal with other women. Because if they wanted that, then they would also want to be equal to black women. And we know that's not the case.
Yeah, that's true. I would say that the issue where it comes up, the one issue I have with that is, so white supremacy isn't only just oppressing black people. It's also whenever because for them, black people are the lowest of the low, but even within that, you still have white supremacy. You have the rich oppressing the poor as well. So I believe that idea of feminism most likely came from
When
the.
when when white tea people, when rich white tea people oppress poor white tea people, it's not white supremacy, it's capitalism.
Right. Okay, that's a fair point. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like for them, for white tea women, for white tea women, their sense of feminism doesn't come from race, it comes from capitalism.
It comes from a shift in the economy after the liberation of our ancestors.
Right.
And so that changed the family structure and the way that you were able to make income. And so that's when they decided, hold on, we got to raise our own children. That's why they children be acting up and powing up um schools. I'm gonna be careful saying that. But yeah, the reason they doing all that, the reason they children act the way they do, is because for hundreds of years they ain't have to raise no kids. They
Yeah,
ain't
well,
the reason they food, like you be seeing everybody so creative. The reason she do those videos with white tea women cooking all crazy, they don't know how to cook. It was our mothers that was cooking. You see, they didn't start burning bras until they had to start staying home and being wives and actually being there in the house.
see, okay, don't get me wrong. I agree with you for the most part. I just don't want to put a blanket over everything as a whole because, I mean, the reality of the situation, I can't give you like percentages or anything, but there was some white tea people that didn't have that type of luxury, in their words, it would be to have those exact types of benefits, or just
Yeah,
not
they
all
did.
the same
If
benefits.
they if they didn't own our ancestors, they worked for someone that did and kept us subjugated as well.
Oh, I don't disagree with that as well. I was just bringing out.
And they still didn't have to pay for much because dinner at a fancy restaurant was $2, a dollar. So it's not like they had to. It's not like they were still able to benefit from a system that saw them not only as human, but a system that sought to keep them comfortable, safe, in a protected environment where they didn't have to worry about much. Now, being able to write books, you could say, a lot of them, they weren't allowed to write. Certain things like that we can look at as oppressive, but the thing is, the majority of them were comfortable because we don't see a feminist woman rights uprising until after enslavement. This is something I've researched because I'm like, when did this whole thing start? It didn't start till after slavery. And then when they did march for suffrage and women's rights, look who they considered women. Because who got the right to vote? It wasn't black women with them.
You're right. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that part.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to try to go against that. I mean, you're right on that. And I would say another point where, stuff like that started happening is whenever like major wars would take place and they had to start taking care of stuff. They really didn't even gain their literacy until points like that because they had to take over businesses.
Yeah, I was much later.
You're right.
Well, not much later, but like, yeah, World War One, World War Two. That's when we really started to see, the economy had shifted so much, and men were not around, so that they could, make money. So they wanted to learn how. They wanted to be able to make money for themselves.
Yeah.
But then they even then wanted equal pay to white men. So that's the thing about feminism. It actually is harmful because black women being included into a power structure that they were never meant to be a part of and is inherently dangerous to their safety is always going to be harmful.
Yeah, I agree 100%. For that next one, can non-black people be pro-black? No. Yeah, no. I don't know if I really need to explain that one too much. You can't. And you it
Okay.
might and overall, like they haven't been, like as
Mm-hmm.
a whole. And like let me give you an example for that. Like the whole time black people were going through what they were going through, there was never a massive group outside of us that did anything.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you look at what's going on with Palestine right now, you got a whole nother country taking siege on ships to help them. You know what I'm saying? Like hitting people in their
Yeah.
pockets to do something about it. And
Mm,
we still haven't had that. Like
mm,
any type of freedoms or things we've gained have been because of us. So that's just me being real about that. So no, that you can't. Um, you don't have to be. I mean, if you want to do what you can, you know, break down the structures that aren't benefiting us. It's that simple. Educate yourself and just be satisfied with that. I don't know why some people just feel the need to want to be saviors, but that's not. Nah, nah. That's a no on that
hmm.
one. And
Okay.
then,
Last question.
so can interracial marriage benefit the black community? So for this one, you, I look at it as what is a benefit to the black community, and for me, it's black people being able to prosper and be happy, right? And you
Hmm.
know, we're not a monolith, so black people are going to be happy for different reasons and prosper for what they think is beneficial to themselves. So I don't think the happiness and the prosperity of black people can just be a monolith as well. You know, it's going to be different because I mean, even, you know, in Africa, like they're not all the same. You have different ethnicities and different, you know, everybody has a different opinion on what's good for them. So the idea for me needs to be making sure that the individual is able to pursue their happiness by what means it needs to be pursued by. And the key to that is just not having white
Would
supremacy
you say
ideology.
would you say SA is beneficial to women?
No.
Why not? To the individual, there might be some women out there that enjoy SA.
For me, it's a consent thing.
Mm.
It's about the consent. So,
But how do you know? Because there might be individuals that really fantasize and love that idea.
no doubt, like I've talked to somebody like that.
So women are not a monolith,
That's true.
like you just said.
I mean, that's
Do you see how obtuse and like it dilutes the entire conversation to hyper focus on individuals and their wants and desires as individuals when we're talking about what can be harmful to a community that has been harmed in a particular few ways for 400 years. I mean, disenfranchisement, look at all the things on the black community's back, and you can tell as a collective what most of us would fuck with and not fuck with.
right. So, okay, so my counter argument to that would be, let's say you have a sibling, right? I don't know if you do or not. It doesn't really matter, right?
I got six.
Okay, so you see them and their happiness. Are you intentionally going to go out of the way to obstruct that happiness for something that really doesn't have a direct impact on you?
But see, that's the thing. Once again, you're focusing on individuals. And I don't even like talking on individuals
Okay.
because what we're talking about here are social systems and communities. So we're in a sociology space. We're not in a individuals, you can be whatever you want to be type of space. I hear what you're saying, but like you're telling me like I don't know, liberating African resources and giving them back to the people of Africa. Some black people might not be happy if they got that. So it wouldn't be part of what's beneficial. Like it's wild to me to say that when we bring up how interracial marriage, like if it's even possible it could benefit the black community, for that to be the thing where you're like, well, there's nothing technically beneficial to the black community because everyone believes different things. Like, no, there are certain things that are beneficial to a community because we've seen things benefit communities for thousands of years. If you do some research, oxygen benefits most communities, being able to breathe. Um, it didn't benefit. I mean, it's not a right for some of our people. Look at Eric Garner. Look at George Floyd. Um, you know, like there are certain things, police brutality, we don't benefit from that. I think most black people could agree that it would benefit our. So the argument that you're making for interracial marriage kind of becomes an excuse why nothing can benefit the black community. And when someone takes it to that extreme, it's once again dilution.
Yeah, Black Brother Legend, I wanted to say, so when you individualize social paradigms, it allows you to obfuscate from the desired result, right? Because if we're trying to say, defund the police, you can say, well, the police one day they came when I called them and stopped me from being robbed. So as a black man, that helped me. Or, we could say we're trying to take down capitalism. Oh, well, Oprah got rich. So let's not get rid of capitalism because it made this black woman wealthy, right? You can't
Mm-hmm.
individualize a social construct in that way because, again, it allows you to it allows you to move around the desired goal and say, because it has benefited somebody, that we're not a monolith. And so we shouldn't take it down, or we shouldn't get rid of this thing, right? We could make same thing with like all the other topics, feminism. We can say, oh, well, feminism benefited this one black woman where she was able to go be a CEO. And it's like, but that doesn't benefit feminism, doesn't benefit black women or black community as a whole, right? So I think that's what, bro, like what he's saying, Tech, is like when you individualize these constructs, anything that we're trying to do for black community, you could always find some one individual black person that says, oh no, don't do that. We're not a monolith. I was benefiting under that system.
Okay, yeah, no,
Right.
I hear you. I do understand what you're saying. So my only issue is, for me, I would have to, and this is research I got to do on my own, but I would have to look more into the way, because I mean, one, you have to have it happening enough to affect the whole as a system, and so I need to look
Look
into,
up the ways that interracial marriage has been harmful to the black community.
right, and I just that's, as I said, that's some research I got to do on my own
Dr.
to really.
Francis Cress Welsing, Black Man, White Woman. Look it up on YouTube. You'll learn a lot there. She's a doctor, clinical psychologist, that dedicated her life to that research.
Yeah. Okay.
And Tech, I didn't want to personalize it. Brother Legend knows this, right? But I'm the product of a interracial marriage, right? But I can't say, oh well, my mother and father have done well by me, and I went to Morehouse, and now I have money to give to the community. So therefore, their interracial marriage should be allowed because it benefited the black community because of me, right? That's what we said. We're individualized. I can't think about, oh, because I have a degree from a HBCU and I'm able to give back to black community, therefore interracial marriage is beneficial to black community. You can't make that logical stretch.
Right. That's not really where I was trying to go with it. It was more, as y'all was saying before, it was just mainly speaking to it on like individual basis, which y'all told, like the way y'all explained it, I see why that's not okay to do, and that's not the right way to approach that. So that's why, yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to do some more research into that one.
All right. Best of luck on your research.
All right, I appreciate you having me up here to talk with you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
One love. Oh, the next guest dropped? That's crazy. Just about to go to them. What's good, Gunner?
Not much, man. Just chilling. Been a good long day on TikTok. I was on earlier. I did come up here because there was a newer question, I guess, even though you probably already know how I'm gonna answer it. But that first question: do white women benefit from the patriarchy? Absolutely. In fact, they were co-conspirators in patriarchy. They were fine with patriarchy up until the point, like you said, until they had to now do the work. And even with their feminist movement, which goes into the second point, right? Their feminism was never about dismantling the racist system that they benefited from, which propped up their white men. It was about them saying, okay, if we're going to now have to do some of the work as we didn't before, right? Because before you had little black kids being human fans while they're having tea with their girlfriends, and one of our women was serving the tea, and the other ones was out cooking the tea and all of that. Then they were fine.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some complaints, but not enough to go and have a whole movement. till now they had to raise their own kids or they had to get out and till some of that land themselves. And they said, oh, wait, I got to do some of that work. I'm not going to do it
Mm,
like we did those colored people. I'm not about to do that. So I need
right.
some of that economic power that our white men have been getting, right? And it has a direct correlation to today when we look at the way that they vote. Women do not benefit from a lot of Republican narratives. But if their white YT husbands who bring in that bread are voting Republican, I can guarantee you, bet my bottom dollar that wife is also voting in that way because she is
Hmm.
protected under her white husband. So she's going to, against her own desired needs as a individual, recognize the power that she has for her family and for the community to vote in that way. Um, and I just want to even touch on what we were just talking about with T is like that's the other unpacking that we have to do in general as Black community. We have to get out of this nuclear family individual mindset because that will not liberate us. Black men and Black women have been in the fields together. They've been working together like the entire time. Like all this Black men
Mm,
being power under patriarchy has never been a thing for us. We've never been allowed to be patriarchs in under Western culture. And then I want to say something too about like even finance. We think about like, oh, well, he was saying like, well, white people, not all of them had money, X, Y, and Z. You can look to media as they say, art imitates life and life imitates art. I remember watching, what was it? Married with Children. This was a YT man that had a high school diploma working at a shoe store that owned a house, 2-car garage house with a front yard, backyard, was able to have a stay-at-home wife and 2 grown kids live with him, right? That was a
hmm.
reflection of what they saw as YT society. Meanwhile, they were making shows about us, and our shows looked like Sanford and Son. Right, that's how we were
Yeah.
living. So that was a reflection, right? You had men owning businesses and doing all of this and still struggling, while the idea of white living was that you could just be a white T man with a high school degree, live on your glory days of your high school football game, and be able to support financially a wife and 2 kids in a 3-bedroom, multi-story, 2-car garage home.
Mm,
Right? So their poor has never looked like our poor. I mean, it probably resembles it a little bit more now. You actually can see some white YT poverty that resembles ours now, but that goes back to what you were saying because of the dire the economic shift in things. Once free labor really wasn't a thing anymore, because now you think about slave. Can we even say that word on here? I don't remember the
yeah, you can.
Okay, but slave labor, we still have it now, but it is more distributed, right? So YT people are
Hmm.
also working for pennies on the dollar. Other races are working for pennies, so that's more distributed now. But before it wasn't that way. But once it
Hmm.
became that way, so that's why all your topics today are actually kind of really related as far as feminism and the patriarchy and all of that, because it was a shift in economics. And once that shift happened, that's when YT women wanted to fight. But again, as you said, it was never for like, oh, we see these injustices. YT men are oppressing all of us. Let's all march together, right? Because if that was the case, when little Black boys and little Black girls are being unalived by police officers and Black mothers are mourning, those YT women would be out there marching with them to protect our kids, right? Because you would think that's a mother's thing. All mothers universally should want to protect kids, but they don't show up for Black women when Black women are mourning the loss of their children. But they expect them to
Mm.
show up when their children when there's some large case when some little YT girl goes missing for 3 weeks, the whole globe is expected to stop and look for her.
I know that's right.
So
And
sorry,
no, you're right.
I'm
That's facts.
about to go get my trees, and then I'll be back in about 30 minutes.
All right, all
All
right.
right,
I
bro.
miss them days, man. I miss them days. Yeah, I stopped.
Oh well, I
Yeah.
don't want to encourage you, but I mean, good. Congratulations for you, bro. Congratulations for you. All right, bro.
Yeah.
I'll probably be back if you're still on about 30, 40 minutes.
All right, peace,
All
brother.
right, please, bro. Oh, let me send you a gift too.
Oh, good looks. Yeah, y'all. The the questions do kind of link together at some point because they definitely benefited enough to not give a damn until after the economy shifted due to the liberation of our ancestors who liberated themselves. Um, I should do a live talking about that too. Yeah, I always get ideas on my live that I forget after the live. Like, because I have to put this phone down. Like, if y'all can see some of the comments I be getting, some of the DMs I be getting, like it's not just us on my platform, unfortunately, and it be kind of like, yeah, like I gotta put my phone down, not look at it. Like I just look at it when I come on here. An assistant would be nice, but right now I prefer to just have the community have my back. You know what I'm saying? But at one point, they benefited a lot more than they do now. They benefit less today, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. I would say they benefited enough to not complain about it till the economy shifted. Feminism was still is harmful to Black unity because of that economy shift. Non-Black people uh, aren't pro-Black because when they started feminism, they didn't include Black women, and interracial marriage was part of them trying to, especially the poor frosted females. Interracial marriage was them finding a way to snatch up some Black wealth. Like, if you can't, now that the economy has shifted to where we no longer have people working for free and we have to work ourselves. If I don't want to work, I can go catch me a rich Black dude and I can make ends meet that way, to where I can still have the comforts of patriarchy with a Black man, co-opting some of the wealth out of our communities. But we could talk about that some more. I'm gonna go to the next guest. I think it's Trav Lee.
Yes,
Yes, can you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
I'm in my 50s. I am a Black woman. That
All
seems to
right,
do it. hmm
talk to us.
yes, I agree with that. But I also think that it's important while we're going through these transitions to find out the whole truth, to go as far back as we can about all of these systems that our enemies have set up against us, because those systems that they have set up do divide us, religion being one of them. Um, I do believe in some of what is in the Bible, not everything, because it's been tampered with so many times. Things were added, things were taken away. And I don't believe that it's for everybody. I don't believe that the people that says is about them, that it is, that I most definitely know that it's not about them. They're in there and they're not on the right tree. Um, I do believe that it's an allegory and also a history book, and also um, that those scriptures do bring knowledge. I do believe that some of the things in there they use against us and try to have us in a perpetual cycle and saying, see, this is what it is, when it's them producing those cycles, because it doesn't happen organically like that crap that's going on in North Africa right now. Which I'm just surprised at how many people think that's okay. I don't agree with it. I do support their efforts in getting colonizers out of their spot, because they did the
Oh, you're
same
talking
thing
about the
they did
Sahel
to
region?
us. I'm talking about Gaza. I'm talking about Congo. I'm talking about every place over there suffering genocide right now.
Oh, you said North Africa, so I was confused.
Well, that's what I call it, North Africa. It's
What do
not
you
the
call
Middle
North
East.
Africa? Because you said Gaza,
It's not. It's not the Middle East.
West Asia.
West Asia. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That ain't
Well,
Africa. Mm-hmm.
West Asia. If it's not on the same tectonic plates, okay. But that's what they call it.
North Africa is wild. John Henry Clark called it West Asia. Um,
Okay.
but I hear
Well,
you.
West Asia. Okay.
Yes,
Um.
Congo is central. Luya, we know. I was That's why I was confused. But all right.
Oh, I'm listing different places that are suffering right now on the
Mhm.
continent and beyond because of what these particular people are getting on doing on the whole of the earth. And so yes, and being certain people, especially black people, being used to um pretend that that this is okay. I'm not okay with that. I don't believe in their political parties because they've never done anything for us as a people. And we've been voting for over 60 plus years and nothing has ever changed. It's just different versions of it, fast or slow. That's how it's going. Um, but I do believe that the system that they have set up is a patriarchal system, and I don't believe that that was a part of our ancestors' system, and that's probably the reason why they changed it. When you go into these other places that says, "Oh, the family was black," you see a black babe and a black woman holding a black child, and then all of a sudden that turns into something else, that turns into something else, that turns into something else. So, yeah, I believe that the truth is important to bring out, no matter where that truth leads to, because a lot of people are scared to get the truth because they have set up a system saying that the truth is ugly, is demonic, is evil, and so forth and so on. And if you keep believing that about your own people, about your own ancestors, then what are you going to get? The same stuff.
Mm. Okay. All right. Thanks for sharing. Let me go to the next guest. Summer, give us your age, race, and pronouns.
Hello. I don't really say my age, but I'm real grown. uh, I can't hear you. Sorry. Anyway, my race is Black, African American culturally, and my pronouns are she, her.
I was asking over 18.
Yes, over 18, way over
All right,
18.
talk to us.
Thank you. So, do what do excuse me? Why see women to benefit from patriarchy? They get some privileges from it, but I don't think any real benefit. And a lot of them just fine with it and are fine with it because they still get some privileges from it, while a lot of Black women don't at all. I think it's hard for them to benefit from it because it's a system made to keep women on the bottom. So whether or not you
Is it
get a
now?
nice
Is that the reason it was made?
yeah, yes,
And
not
what
the
proof of
reason, but
this
it's
do you
made, but
have?
it's not the reason it was
Oh,
made, but patriarchy means that women are oppressed and
excluded from
disadvantaged and
power.
excluded from power and oppressed. And so, whether or not you
So
get
if your choices are inclusion into white supremacy power, or to not be or to be excluded from that power, and you choose to fight to be included into white supremacy power, then I'm confused.
but they're not really included. That's my
Is that
point.
oppression?
They're not really included. Like,
They're not.
no, they're not really included in the power. They're behind the power a lot of times. They can wield the power sometimes, but they're not really in charge of it.
Well, that's the thing. Despite being in charge of something, if my wife is driving a car to KFC so I can get some food and I don't have to drive, I may be excluded from controlling the vehicle, but do I benefit from the trip?
Yes, so they can have some, like I said, some privileges from it. But does she own the car? Is her name on the car? When it sells, will she get the money or is it in your name? If it's in your name, not so much. If it's in her name also, then yes. But white women are not
But why
equally
does the car
powerful
have to be in her name in order for her to benefit?
because then she owns the car. If she doesn't own the car and you own the car, then she's getting a privilege of driving it now, but it's not her car.
But why does ownership dictate whether or not something's a benefit to me?
Because you can take it from her at any time. That's why.
But at the same time, I'm benefiting from not having to drive the car. The car was built by someone else's ancestors. So it's not even like the person driving the car actually owns the car. So again, if it was made to solely oppress white T women, right?
I didn't say
I
solely,
mean,
not solely.
all right, so you're telling me that, oh, that's a good question. I'll ask that one next. But if you're saying that they don't benefit, that they have only concessions from a system that was created to keep them not having to work, raise children, have to, worry about ownership of property, and in a system in which they were extremely complicit and upheld for most of European history until liberation of enslaved people, when they had to work. I'm just lost at
That's not
how
a
it's not
benefit.
beneficial.
It seems like a benefit to you, but it's not really, it's not no real benefit. Like I say for instance, say I meet a man today and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna take care of you. He doesn't marry me, he doesn't put my name on anything, but say he pays my bills for a couple of years, 10 years, 5 years, whatever, right? And I'm living well. At that time, I'm in those privileges and everything, but there's no long-term real benefit because at the end of it, I have nothing to show for it. So they're not,
But he paid your bills.
so what? That's a privilege. That's something nice. I don't get anything out of it at the end of it.
Yes, you
It's
do. You
over.
get your bills paid.
I don't. And that's the thing. If my getting my bills paid also means that I give up power, or anyway, this is the point of the patriarchy. Yes, okay, you get a husband, he pays the bills, you know, but also you do the lion's share of the work. You still, the laws are against your body and your autonomy. Still, you're expected to back him up and follow his stuff, and it's all
But
about
see, that's
men.
the
That's the
thing.
patriarchy.
The whole thing with the losing autonomy over your body. That's only when that happens only to those that the Eurocentric status quo has already rejected. So yeah, if you consider yourself a feminist, you got tattoos, you're a little bit overweight, you know, not saying that it's right to reject these people from the status quo. I didn't make the status quo. This is their rules, okay? Maybe you're a lesbian, you love some different kind of way than the heterosexual norm of society. Maybe you just dye your hair color, certain things where you're anything but Taylor Swift. Then I could kind of see your point, because there are white people that are oppressed by the patriarchal system, but there's still an overwhelming percentage of those frosted females that are not subjugated to those forms of oppression because they fit the status quo that they're allowed to fit into. A black woman can't fit that status quo. She can try, but most of the time, unless you're white tea passing and no one finds out, um, it's not going to work. It's not going to work completely. You can get close, but at the end of the day, 57% of them vote to even keep patriarchy in power because they didn't give a damn about autonomy, because they have their children or they're okay with having children, and that wasn't a problem for them. So when I ask, do white tea women benefit from patriarchy, I'm not saying all white tea women, but there is a majority that has decided it is in their best interest to uphold patriarchy.
That's not the same thing. First of all, the majority of women, including white women, want to have autonomy over their body. I'm talking about being able to end a pregnancy or not, right? They voted against their interest because yet this, right? And it's
How is
easier
it
for them.
against
They'd
their
rather be
interest?
better than you. Okay,
I'm
hold
sorry, you
on,
cut
against
off.
their
I didn't know
interest.
you were
They'd
still
rather
talking.
be Yeah, the majority of white tea women want to have autonomy over their body and want to have the right to end a pregnancy. Okay. They voted against their interest because they felt like it wasn't, because rather, and have those privileges than not. And they align with that all the time. I don't want to defend, white tea women. I'm not no big fan,
That's all you've been
but
doing
my
since you
point
came up
is,
here.
it's not just
But
women who
yeah,
don't fit. Well, you're not letting me finish. But so they voted for that reason, right? But when it came down to when Roe v. Wade was overturned, the majority of them, more so than us, because we're not even as worried about it as they are, right? They made it clear that they do care about that. Okay, so just because they are, ignorantly clinging to the last shards of it doesn't mean that whether or not you're a quote unquote good looking white tea woman, you still are oppressed by patriarchy. Yes, you can live a soft life, but there's a big price to that. And more so, let's switch to Black women. It doesn't serve us. It just doesn't serve us. Is feminism harmful to the Black community? White tea women find feminism can be, but I don't think women wanting to have equality, social, economic, political equality is harmful to the Black community. No, to Black unity. Can non-Black people be pro-Black? I don't know. Can interracial marriage benefit the Black community? Not my business. I'm not really interested in it, but maybe. Probably not. Anyway, but yeah, so the point is patriarchy is a system to keep women on the bottom and as almost property of men and men on the top. So
it's a
whether
system
or
that
not you're a
excludes women
special,
from power, not keep
whether
women on the bottom.
on the bottom, whether or not you are a special pet who
It
gets
doesn't
special
keep them on the
treats,
bottom. It
it does.
excludes them
Whether or
from
not
power.
it
It
keeps women
doesn't
on the
put them
bottom,
on the bottom because
it
Black
does
women
keep
are on the
women on the
bottom.
bottom.
It does
Black
not
women are
put
on the
women
bottom,
on
yes,
the
but women, I
bottom.
said women. I didn't say white tea women. I said women. So if Black women are at the very bottom, white
White
tea
women
women
ain't
are
down there with
underneath
you.
white tea men.
They not down there with you.
I didn't listen to me. I'm not saying they are. Black women are on the bottom. White tea women are underneath white tea men. It keeps them oppressed under white tea men. Obviously, they see them as above us. No one said that. I said women in general. Got it?
But it also creates a system where white tea women don't have to do what white tea men have to do.
What do you
Because
mean?
because if I were to use your definition of patriarchy, I could also or your definition of oppression rather, I could also say that patriarchy oppresses white men. And I would never say that. You
Yes,
know,
because
what
oppressed also. Patriarchy is harmful to all of us. White tea men benefit the most from it, but it hurts them in different
yo,
ways.
we're somewhere else now. So
No,
now
it
even
hurts.
those that
No, it
created
hurts.
and
Here's how
perpetrate
it
the
hurts them.
system,
Here's how it hurts them. Here's how it hurts them.
oh my, I know how it hurts them,
Then what are you talking
but it
about?
is something that they benefit
Yes,
from,
they
which is
benefit from it.
why
I
they keep
agree.
it going. That's
Listen,
like
you
saying,
can benefit from something that
hold
hurts
on now.
you.
I done let you talk, man. I done let you talk, man. Y'all got her down? Man, she left. All right, y'all. That's 5. Wow! I'm gonna stop putting claps for weirdos like that. But shout out to everybody that sent the she just said that thin-lipped men don't benefit from patriarchy. She just said the oppressor don't benefit from oppression. That's crazy. That's like saying, I'm gonna take all your food and I'm gonna eat it all. And I'm oppressed because I get fat. I don't benefit. So because this one part of it doesn't work in my favor, because I'm getting fat off of your food, it doesn't benefit me. In order for it to be a benefit, it has to be a 360 all around win. Like, stop now. No man is perfect, and no system is going to benefit someone in all areas of their life. However, when we talk about people that benefit, we're talking about a net benefit. We're talking about protection. We're talking about, and protection, I mean patriarchal institutions protect white tea women. Patriarchal institutions The police protect white teen women. Patriarchal institutions like medical institutions make sure that white teen women live longer than black women. Patriarchal institutions like the justice system make sure that white teen women don't serve sentences and get arrested the least in this country. Patriarchal institutions like the education system make sure that white teen women are likely to graduate and don't get reprimanded by their teachers as much in grade school. Patriarchal institutions like the economy make sure that white teen women are able to get jobs that sisters can't get after going to college for 6 years. They can go with just a diploma. So at the end of the day, it's benefiting them. They doing all right. Like, I don't know. I understand the autonomy and the others in certain things that it fits them into a certain mold. That's what patriarchy does. It makes it so that you have to fit the status quo. But they have an overwhelming ability to fit that status quo. And so that's what gives them a net benefit from patriarchy. I don't think it's that hard to understand. I'm going to go to the next guest, Juice Wellington. Give us your age, race, and pronouns.
Age is 35, race is black, and pronouns is he, him.
All right, peace. Go ahead, talk to us.
Uh, so just to piggyback off what the last guest was talking about, I understood where she was going, but what you said was where I was gonna go. Like where patriarchy it was built by European men. And so therefore it's gonna benefit in that perspective for the white women because we've had towns burnt down, women have cried, and we've had people that have been, you know, unalived simply because a white woman decided that that day she didn't feel like dealing with it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's pretty sad, honestly. It's actually a really sad thing to think about. Um,
Mm.
and that's how come, like when you see that whole, and I'm not trying to get political, I just want to just put this little caveat out there. When it comes to conservative thought and stuff like that, when it comes to them, which I don't understand how us is. I know some black people that are conservative, and I never understood that. But with those conservative thoughts, that's how come they keep voting the way they vote because they already know it's never if they give that up, where's their protection?
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And it's scary out there for them when they feel like, well, who's gonna protect me? Instead of just being like every other woman.
Mm-hmm. And
If
people
feminine,
want to. I'm
go ahead. I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say people want to look at protection as something that's not a benefit because no one should be getting harmed. But the fact is, in the real world, as capitalism and racism, white supremacy operate, people are, if unless you fit that status quo, you will be harmed in some way. And so not being harmed in a harmful environment is benefiting from that harmful environment. Like, that's how it works. Like, yeah, we wish it was just an equal world where everyone was okay and no one was being harmed and that was a right. However, there is no right to not being harmed. They didn't write that in the Constitution. There's no right to protection. So the fact that white teen women are able to be protected by the patriarchy is a benefit.
Now, where she was coming from was the fact that patriarchy does not benefit anybody, which it doesn't. Not for real, for real.
I
Because
would say it benefits, but I would say it has harmful effects to everybody.
yeah,
I can understand that.
because
Yeah.
it's a lot of levels to it. It's a lot of nuance in that conversation. I don't want to get too deep in it, but I get where she was trying to come from. That's what I think was trying to like be was what was being said at the moment. But yeah, we're gonna move on to, is feminism harmful to the black community? I don't know how it would be unless you're talking about white feminism.
Um,
And black people and black women
feminism,
don't and black
feminism, feminism is supposed to be women working, or I'm sorry, women um advocating for equality, right? Advocating for women.
do you know where it started? It started like during, like, I believe World War I. Um, you know that little I don't know, everybody's seen it with the lady with that headband on. She got her arm up, the strong arm. That's when softball came into play, stuff like that, right? But that
Uh-huh.
was strictly for white women. Black women don't call themselves that.
I didn't mean working like that. I'm defining feminism for the sake of the live, just to say that it's advocating for women's equality. However,
It would benefit
the
us.
definition of women in this Western um, social construct, that social construct of gender, it doesn't include black women. So the same way patriarchy doesn't include black men. If that were the case, when they wrote down in the Constitution, all men are created equal, black men would have been free.
Wait. Patriarchy does, and I'm a black man. Patriarchy does include black men. It just, you would
No,
just
it
have to
doesn't.
find about it. Well, we could talk
Patriarchy
about
does not include black men.
it. We could talk about it.
What?
I said we could talk about it if you want to.
Black men attempt to assimilate and co-opt patriarchy, but it
And
does not include them.
but okay, I get what you're saying, and I agree with that. But why do so? But my thing is this: so many black men assimilate to it, and it has become a little bit toxic. In
So
that,
many
and
black
that's
men, so many black people assimilate into racism, white supremacy, and try to
yeah.
co-opt that as well. Look at Candace Owens. Look at Kanye West. But
Well,
you wouldn't say that racism was meant to include them.
no, it
And
wasn't.
there
It
is
was
no
never. It was
patriarchy
because this
without
system
racism.
doesn't. And that's all I'm saying. This system has never worked for us. It's not going to work.
And that's what I'm saying about patriarchy. It never included black men the same way
And I wish that,
feminism never included black women.
but the thing about it is, being a black man is like, how do you push that? How do you push that narrative out there to the rest of them that are trying to get there?
You
Trying
tell
to
you
get
tell
that little
them you
piece of the
tell
pie.
them you tell them to put it down because it's not helping them. Instead of telling them that it benefits them and it's something that was created to include them so that they can decide, now, should I do what benefits me or do what best for the community? No, brothers, patriarchy does not help you. Patriarchy is the reason patriarchal institutions such as the police deem you a threat. Patriarchy is the reason, brothers, that you are the least hired in the economy. Patriarchy is the
You're right.
reason, brothers, that medical racism affects us to the point where we are least likely in the country of all demographics to live to the age of 65. So
And to be
when all of those patriarchal institutions discriminate against black men, and there is not one patriarchal institution created or controlled by black men, you can't say patriarchy includes black men. It also subjugates them, and this is something Bell Hooks talked about.
Well, here's a great example of it. That was the top black man Republican that was running for president. I forgot his name. It's not coming to me right now. But he just dropped out the race for presidency because even though he's like, everybody just supposedly love him, right? And everybody was supposedly praising him, but he only had like 2% of the Republican vote. He was
Yeah,
never going to
yeah. You're
win.
talking about
Tim Scott,
uh
there it is.
Tim.
His name is
Yeah,
Tim Scott.
Yeah,
He was never,
weirdo.
and he don't ask it. He don't ask himself like, if you're the top black male Republican in the entire, because he is, that is, it's been named through Congress and other branches of government, through states. He's known, Tim Scott, right? But you only got 2% of people that support you. And the question is, it's like, but if, and he's also very intelligent, and he also is very good and very well spoken. How come you did not get the vote of everybody else? And he doesn't ask himself that. And
Hmm.
that's that reaching. Same thing with Clarence Thomas. Same thing. Like, he may have gotten to the highest court in the land. I'm not gonna say he didn't, because, and also I believe he was a neurosurgeon, right?
He was a what?
Uh, wasn't he a neurosurgeon, Clarence Thomas? I believe he was.
Neurosurgeon. I don't know. Maybe. No, I think you're talking about Oh, you're
Carson,
talking.
sorry.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. No, no, that's what I'm talking about. But
Yeah, the other
him
one.
as well. Yeah, him as well. Because he was also in Trump's group. But Clarence Thomas got to that level. But they're reaching so far, trying to receive that patriarchy, and it just never. Ben Carson, that's who it was. But they never can actually receive that acknowledgement.
Yeah, right. Because it
And
wasn't meant to include them.
it never helps. It never ever helps. But
Right.
um, so but to the point, feminism, it depends. What if it comes to black women and them wanting their rights and equal rights with the
That's
men?
not feminism. That's
I mean, it's a
womanism.
version. It's their version of it,
That's
though.
called womanism.
Yeah, I
Because
know,
that
but
that that actually is about misogynoir, and um that actually does focus on the most marginalized group of women. Feminism, it focuses on the default, the privileged woman's inability to have to co-opt the same privilege built on our ancestors' back that her man has. So she just
well,
wants to be. She just wants. Feminism is thin-lipped women wanting to be like thin-lipped men. Womanism is advocating against oppressive systems, race,
no,
racism,
I've
and
heard of the.
patriarchy that subjugate black women.
No, I've heard of the womanism term, but I've heard of other different terms. For black women, it just depends on whom you're speaking with at the moment, right? Because you also have disabled black women that wants certain rights, and it just depends on who you're speaking with at the moment. But I don't want to get into semantics. The biggest thing is that I'm just saying that feminism in and of itself has a white woman banner. It just says white women, and then a lot of times with feminism, it rides off the backs of other women of color who are fighting for their rights. So feminism really isn't a thing in and of itself. That's an engine of itself. They are just like one of the little parts, and they just kind of latch themselves on to the engine of the car, if you get what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
to just ride it out, and then they can. That's why a lot of black women have been saying, and women of color have been saying, like, your advocacy and everything that you do is transactional. It's not something that is you just really trying to support women as a whole. Because even during Roe v. Wade, um, a lot of the white women were saying that, oh, it's not going to happen. They're not going to repeal Roe v. Wade. And all the women of color were saying, yes, they are.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to move on. So, can non-black people be pro-black? There's absolutely no way. And I don't care what nobody says, because you don't even know what it means to be pro-black. Like, for New Year's, I'm putting 12 black eyed peas in my wallet. And I'm eating some pig feet. So, and if you know what I'm saying? So, like, sometimes you gotta sweep your porch off. You know. So, we ain't gonna get into that. And then, can interracial marriage benefit the Black community? In a way, yes, but it depends on what family you're marrying into. You can't just take one piece of a family and say, oh, this benefits the community. No, that's not how that works. You have to actually have the entire family be a part of it. But I don't really, like me personally, I don't do interracial marriage myself. This is me personally. I don't do interracial relationships. But I can't tell people who to love and what to do with themselves and all that kind of stuff, right? Because
Yeah, I don't
that
do
would
that.
be
That's what Christians do. I don't.
that would be wrong. I can't
But I
tell
talk about
somebody,
it.
yeah, I can't tell somebody who to love and all that kind of stuff like that. But I've never dated somebody outside of my race.
Mm.
Now, when it comes to the benefit, the way I look at it from just a perspective of analyzing the situation, if the family ain't on board, then you ain't doing nothing for the community because it's gonna take the whole family to actually make that work. Do you feel me? Because then
Mm.
that family goes to the community. Then the community can understand what's going on, right? But
I mean,
as I'm
mhm.
looking at it right now, there is certain people in this world that are just inherently destructive. And if you're trying to do the interracial thing, you have to really know like who you're trying to date and are they inherently destructive?
What if they think they're not?
You could think all you want to, but we all saw what was that movie by
Get
Mr.
out.
Peel?
Get out.
Yeah, you all saw the movie Inherently Destructive. You didn't see that. Like you didn't recognize it because you didn't want to see,
Mm.
you know? And I tell people that all the time. That movie wasn't a lie. It was the real thing. You just was blinded because, oh, I'm just so in love. But you go see their family and their family done did some stuff to you and to other people you didn't even know what they was doing. It's
Hmm.
almost like when you're dating interracially, did they own slaves?
Mm.
Did they were they people that were people that advocated for us? Were they people that really did anything for us?
No. And I would say you used the correct word when you said inherently. So my thing is, when we talk about does it benefit the community or can it benefit the community, I would ask in what way?
Well, hold on. Everybody's saying that they're confused. Okay, let me rephrase what I'm saying, y'all, if y'all confused. What I'm saying is that if you're gonna date interracially, there are certain people in certain cultures that have an inherent destructive nature, and we are seeing it right now. And you have to recognize if these people are like that. Like you have to meet their family. And I know that that sounds weird, y'all, but it is. Am I wrong for saying like? Do you agree with me? Like you have
I
to meet
have
their
I have
family.
a very um conscious Pan African um a core group of people that are in those comments. And the trouble that they're having with what you're saying is you're telling us to put ourselves in danger to try to be little investigators to find out if someone's has racism in their heart or not. And
You're saying like the interracial thing is like a no go.
um
Because I said
it's
I've
not
never
it,
dated
it's
somebody
not going
outside
to
of my
benefit
race.
nobody. Black Swan, go ahead, talk, sister.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me do the intro. So I'm 33. I am Black, and my pronouns are she, her.
Appreciate you.
Think that I always find it interesting, and this is like nothing negative, but anybody that kind of does like the mental reach to, I guess, provide reasoning as to why an interracial relationship could benefit the Black community. I always wonder why we skip over Black relationships and just focusing on that. Because I like, for me, there's been so much intentional division, right, from many of these systems. We could talk about mass incarceration and what that did to Black men. We could talk about what the Rock era did to our community. I just think that for me, I could never see interracial relationships benefiting us when we have all of this division trying to keep us divided in Black relationships. So I just wanted to add that to the conversation.
True. I mean, it gets real because look at Loving versus Virginia, 1967. We talk about it a lot of time on this live. How they were so quick to pass a law to make interracial marriage legal once we decided we were going to unify intentionally. Like when we finally had Black men speaking up about intentionally weaponizing marriage, weaponizing unity amongst our own community, that's when they were so quick to not improve the conditions of our environments, but instead make it legal for those that brought us here against our will and still oppress us to this day to be those we turn to for love. And, does your oppressor ever do anything to your benefit, to the benefit of the people that they oppress? Juice, we can't hear you. Are you still here?
Oh, no, no, no. I thought Black Swan still talking about that. No, no.
Mhm.
I agree with Black Swan. I don't think that way, y'all. That's what I was saying. I don't think that way. I only date Black people. I've never dated somebody outside of my race. Not one time. Not even slept with somebody outside of my race. Never was interested, right?
Mhm.
Um, but I was just trying to rationalize and because sometimes I can't see things through other people's eyes, if you get what I'm saying.
Mhm.
But I took psychology. I took a lot of those, because I went into school for biochemistry, but I take a lot of different classes. And a lot of they tell you like sometimes you sit and you just kind of try to get where they're going. But
Mhm.
not that you would agree, but just try
Mhm.
to figure it out. So in my thought process, I would just be like, yeah, no.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. Oh man. Well, appreciate you, Juice, for sharing with us. King
Yeah, thank you.
Africa.
Yeah, yeah, thank you for
Yeah.
having me, bro. I'm a drop down, but thank y'all for having me, y'all.
All
And
right.
hopefully
All right.
everybody understood where I was coming from. Bye bye.
Uh, all right. Thanks for coming up, brother. King Africa debunked. What's going on, brother?
How are you, my brother?
I'm well, man.
Uh, uh, one of your quotes from one of your videos inspired me because I was listening to what everyone's been saying, and it inspired me because I think it ties in what you've been saying the last few days in what you've been saying today. And I think one of the key quotes you had in one of your videos was the idea that black people, and I think it ties into like the history of feminism because what you said was black people like.
Oh, you cut out on us. Don't forget to keep tapping like, y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Huh?
Yeah, you back? You cut out on us.
Continuously telling us is black people are saying to everyone, let's liberate everybody, freedom for everyone everywhere. and everybody's looking back at us and saying, "Stop treating us like them." That is what people are telling us. So if you look at the history of feminism, like for hundreds and hundreds of years in the USA, you did not have any kind of mass movement for female suffrage. Female suffrage and the inaccess to voting rights only became intolerable when some black men got the access to voting. That's only when it became intolerable. And even when like the lengths that the suffragette movement was a radical violent movement, and these women were doing hunger strikes, they were throwing themselves against horses, people were committing suicide, and like
Careful.
even
You're on
so
TikTok.
people were unaliving themselves, and like even at the height of that radicalism and that willingness to engage in violence, they still had time to say, "Hey, black women, F off. You're not part of this." Like even in the height of that radical movement, they said, hey, I know we're doing this kind of stuff, we're trying to fight for our rights, hey, but black women, you're not part of this. Like, and I think it's really important, like, to
All right, his phone cut out again. He said throwing themselves against horses. I'm sure they was. You know, can you imagine Karens throwing themselves against horses? That's crazy.
what they were doing in the suffragette movement was crazy. These women were resolute in getting their voting rights, and they still had time to tell black women, "Hey, don't come near this, man." This is the history. People keep telling us the same thing. Like, people keep saying, "Hey, we're not like you. Don't treat us like Africans. Don't treat us like black people. We are better than this." So when 10,000 Ukrainians die, the world is reeling. And when 20,000 Palestinians die, the world is reeling. But when 6 million Congolese people have died in the Congo, like, people have the audacity to ask you why you laser focused on your own people. Like, it's insanity.
Yeah. Yeah. The Congo gets me really upset. I'm being honest. The Congo gets me really, really upset. Like, some of us that was upset about George Floyd, Eric Garner, Sandra Bland, Trayvon Martin, you know, the ancestors watch over them now.
Actually look at the history of Africa, even in living memory. So if you just go the last 100 years, the amount of death, like in the millions, and the amount of honestly, the amount of like of unaliving of black life, it's an ocean of like black pain, and like all these things that are happening in the world, you could throw them into Africa 100 times over. Everybody that has been unalived in Ukraine and Palestine, you could throw that into Africa 100 times over just in the last 20 years. What are you talking about? And people have the audacity to ask you why you laser focused on black people. Like, what are we talking about here? And but I think that's the message that people keep telling us. Like, we keep saying freedom for everyone, everywhere, and people keep saying, "Don't treat us like Africans. Don't treat. We're better than that. Don't treat us like black people. We're better than that. Hey, look, I'm white. I'm blonde. I'm from Ukraine. Don't treat me like an African. My life is worth something. Hey, I almost look like Kim Kardashian. I'm almost white. Don't treat me like an African. I'm better than that. My life is worth more than those Congolese people. Don't treat me like I'm Congolese. Don't treat me like I'm Sudanese. Don't treat me like I'm a Somali. Don't treat me like I'm a Nigerian. My life is worth more than that." That is the message that black people keep getting told, and like, it's like we're not listening.
Right. They're not saying don't treat them that way. They're saying don't treat us that way. They don't care about what's going on with us. They're not trying to stop none of that. They're just trying to also be able to benefit from that mistreatment. That's the whole game plan. That's the game plan with feminism. That's the game plan with the LGBT political movement. Political. I'm talking about when they do marches. I'm talking about the flags. I'm talking about the political agenda, not the whole propaganda agenda, brainwashing the frogs to be gay. Listen, we're not doing all that. I'm talking about the actual political agenda is to co-opt and be a part of the status quo. That's why they fight over pronouns instead of making their own. That's the thing. Like, why do you want to be included in the definition of a woman when, why do you want to be included in definitions of social constructs that would help you to be a part of the status quo instead of becoming your own thing within society? That's another
But the
thing.
legend, I think because a lot of us are led with empathy, a lot of us can't fathom how the rest of the world looks at us. And I think like a lot of us are genuinely offended. Like even with all my criticism of the dynamics between like us and Ukraine, us and Palestine. Even on my own even on my own platforms dedicated to Africa, I can't help my humanity and call out what Israel's doing because I'm a human being. And like even I think a lot of black people think the rest of the world look at us the way we look at the rest of the world. And a lot of us black people, we are actually genuinely offended by inequality. We are actually genuinely offended by like the pyramid of how the world works and
Right.
like how people's lives aren't worth anything. We are genuinely offended. I'm genuinely offended by what's going on in Ukraine. I'm genuinely offended by how the Israeli state and how they function and their violence and their apartheid system. I'm genuinely offended by that. And black people need to understand that other people, they're not offended by the pyramid. They're offended by their inaccess to power. Like the issue isn't the pyramid.
There
The
you
issue
go.
is like we are offended by the pyramid. They are offended by their placement on the pyramid. Like a lot, like they're saying, "Hey, yeah, I get the pyramid, but don't put us near the Africans." And like a lot of like that is what like a lot of our people are not getting. Like we're offended by the pyramid. Other people are offended by their placement on the pyramid.
Mm-hmm. That's facts. Yup. And that's what we see going on, and that's why I try to tell brothers and sisters we gotta focus on us, because focusing on fighting for them to get access to a higher step in the pyramid, they will leave your ass behind, as they have always done. They use us for power, they use us as a stepping stool to get what they want, and then they leave us behind. And even in ways that are oppressive, such as Candace Owens, um, Clarence Thomas, these people as well. Like, they're just stepping stools so that the thin-lipped majority can get what they want. They don't care about their people. They don't care about they're still going to be harmful. They just want to get what they want. They want to use us to get what they want. They want to use our women to get what they want. They want to use our celebrities to get what they want. All of this. And you know what's crazy to me? Look at the comments. See how someone says you're not oppressed. Capital letters. If we're up here talking about our oppression, right? Imagine you seeing, I don't know, a live of people that don't look like you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like Jewish people in a live, and they talking about, what's going on in their society, in their community, and they're talking about their oppression, right? Of course, that's a yeehaw. But could you imagine joining the live to tell them they're not oppressed? Like, that's part of it too, is gaslighting us. And because why would you care? Like, even if we truly weren't oppressed, they wouldn't feel the need to come and tell us that. If we weren't oppressed, you would just say, these people.
And also
Yeah.
think it shows because like remember, if you're led by empathy, like if I go into a community that I'm not a part of and they're talking about the dynamics of a specific oppression that affects them, my knee-jerk reaction is to listen because it's an educational moment. Because I'm a black person. I don't understand everything that goes on in the Asian community or in the Jewish community or in the LGBT community. Like if I'm if another community that I'm not a direct part of is having a conversation within themselves, like my knee-jerk reaction isn't to come in, it's not to bulldoze the conversation and and to center myself and say, hey, I don't think you're oppressed, even though I don't really understand the dynamics of what you're going through. But like you have to understand, if you're led by empathy and like trying to understand other human people, like you have to understand not everybody thinks like that. So when people come in trying to bulldoze black conversations and say you're not oppressed, like when there are hundreds and hundreds of black people who enter your life every week, and like dozens and dozens of us are having the same from all across the world are sharing our experiences. Like to come in and say like you're not oppressed shows like there's just an absence of empathy that a lot of these people don't see us as fully human. That's why they can come in and just say these crazy things.
Yeah. Black Swan, go ahead, sisters. You gonna say something?
Yeah, I was actually in a debate earlier today. I need to stay out of these rooms, but it just when I hear the misinformation, I have to get up there and say something. And it does validate a lot of people that are frustrated listening to a conversation. But I got up on the panel and this gentleman started saying that he actually explained the structure and the hierarchy of racism. And then tried to say that YT people do experience racism. So I had asked, sorry, give me one moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, y'all gotta be careful in some of these lives. Don't let them raise your blood pressure.
Yeah, so I kind of, I guess like I know what to expect. So I don't I tend to not get too upset, but they get so upset. And when it's a YT person trying to deny, lie, or deflect or pivot from reality, they definitely get so upset, especially when you know what you're talking about. So I was like, can you give me an example of what you mean of how YT people can face racism? And he said, they always tell a story of how someone gets jumped by like 3 to 4 black people. And I don't even believe it. 9 times out of 10, it's a lie because that's just not happening. But when I was explaining it out, he ended up getting really upset. And I said, he said, well, they do uphold. I was like, do we uphold any systems of power that oppress other groups? Name me one. Name me a system. And he brought up Japanese, I don't know if I can say the camps, right? He brought that up. Yep. He brought up the camps, and I can't tell you how many people were in the comments section trying to justify and agree. And I'm like, that just doesn't make any sense. First of all, it would be xenophobia because it didn't target the entire race of Asian people, just Japanese people. And he's like, well, black people got to vote. And I'm just like, the reach, at this point, you're mentally just scrambling, right? Just to try and find a way to alleviate yourself from the reality, which is YT people are inherently racist. Like, you're not making any sense. You're literally not making any sense at all. And when we brought up all of these systems that oppress us, myself and another woman were up there giving example after example. It was just deny, 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 which speaks exactly to what Africa just said. And I've been in plenty of spaces where, they react that way. And it just goes to show you that they do not care. You're gonna tell me that you supposedly getting beat up by 3 to 4 black people compares to the systems of oppression that we have been dealing with and still deal with today. There is no comparison there. There's no comparison.
Madness. That's crazy. Yeah, that's wild.
Wait, what do we have to do with the Japanese? Like, what we didn't put them in?
What happened there? Like,
so we didn't do that. That was the white people.
What we did was that we had the right to vote, and that means that we participated in the system that pushed the propaganda. And I was like, hold on a minute. Hold on.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly.
We didn't have the right to vote.
We did not have the right to vote at that time. And even and my thing is, I don't know what the exact population numbers were in comparison to right now, but even so, that's still even, let's say we did have the right to vote at that time, right? If we voted for the system that's first, which is xenophobia again, but if we did vote for that in that direction, right, we didn't control the propaganda, so it'd be a reaction to the propaganda. So still, the onus is on the people that created the propaganda to sway people
and brought us here. We didn't choose to even come here. That's what people miss about the context. When we talk about racism, people miss context matters. I'm gonna make t-shirts. That's what I'm gonna put. I was thinking what should I put on t-shirts? I'm gonna put something else so that I'm talking about us. But I think I'm about to make t-shirts that just say context matters. Literally. Y'all need to stop. The context is we are still in our captor's land.
Right.
We are the only people, even indigenous Americans, at some point their ancestors decided they was going to bring their ass here. We ain't never decide, not one ancestor, we was going to come to America.
Right.
And even the African people that do come to America, that come later on, of their own free will, come here only to free the racism going on by the same American system, Western imperialism that's going on in Africa. So even them, you could argue, don't come here of free will, but rather out of necessity. But we as African American people specifically, we the only people here that didn't want to be here. Any system that we take part in is only for our survival and never something that we chose to do with intention. It's crazy.
That we control. And I mean, and I get
Right.
considering the fact that that would be xenophobia because it's targeted towards a nationality. It wasn't the Asian race. It was just Japanese people at that time. But they also in this country realized the error of its ways. And I don't think that any amount of money can really justify or, it can't amount to any sort of apology, but they got reparations. You know what I
They
mean?
got something.
Right, exactly. It was just ridiculous. I mean, I like the only reason why I join the debates is because if I in the room and I see that people are giving out misinformation and people in the comments are triggered, I already know what I'm encountering. They're going to give the definition, part of the definition, and they're going to try to apply it and switch it and flip it. They're going to ignore historical context. And a lot of times when so I ask questions like, okay, well, when did these things begin? What year? Who created this? What voyage took place? And they can't give that information. So, but it does validate people who are listening. And some people take away from it, but the reaches that they go through to deny the fact that we are oppressed, when you see it, we see it. Everywhere we go, we see it. They don't care. They do not care. And they will deny it to defend their privilege and the benefits that they get. They can't ever admit to it. They can't.
Yeah.
Why I don't engage with like debates with a lot of YT people, because and it's not all, but the vast majority, historically, they live in a completely different reality and paradigm to ourselves, and obviously it's a failure of a lot of the education systems internationally. But like what their understanding of Black history is, like for the average like European person of any descent, like across the world, their understanding of Black history is it. I'm gonna paraphrase for you what the average white person thinks about African history. Is that once upon a time, like since the dawn of man, Africans have been running naked through the jungle for hundreds and hundreds of years. They got enslaved. They got enslaved. They got brought to America. There was slavery. It was bad for them. It wasn't really nice. Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. It was better, and then Martin Luther King came and saved Black people. And then Nelson Mandela came and wrapped up a few things in South Africa, and then Black people have been complaining ever since. That is what I promise you, that is what people think Black history is.
Yeah.
There was slavery, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, Martin Luther King saved Black people, Nelson Mandela fixed a few things, and then we've just been complaining since. That is, I promise you. So like, there's no point in me having a discourse with people who have that kind of notion of Black history.
Yeah. Speaking of Abraham Lincoln, and I'm coming to you next, Kay. When our ancestors freed themselves and forced Abraham Lincoln to make a choice over whether or not our ancestors would be claimed the victors in their revolution, or if he could sign a piece of paper and say that he gave it to them to keep America strong. Because you see, there would be no United States if people can revolt and take it over and change just basically dismantle the American economy because they don't like something. So that would show that the US government wouldn't be able to survive that. So in order to save the United States, he decided, I'm gonna make it look like I gave it to him. And so when he did that, it was because of the revolution that happened in Haiti. The revolution that happened in Haiti scared France out the entire Western Hemisphere. They decided to sell Louisiana. The Louisiana Purchase happened because France was like, listen, we can't control them. Like we can't control them. So just let them have Louisiana. We moving. We staying in Europe, y'all. Let's go. That is what you call. I forgot in the stock market you call that something, but it's when there's a significant change to the market, and the market value kind of starts to plummet after that. So after you see that you can only control people for so long before they really start to revolt and it not work as a system anymore, the system is broken, and you see one of the biggest players in the game fold and leave, that's bad for all the other players at the table. It's like, oh man. So, and I don't know the rules of poker, so I know that was a poker analogy, but I don't even know poker well enough. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Talking about the stock market. So that being the case, America sees that, and it's interesting how France was the first one to take the fall. And now, as we watch Western imperialism start to crumble on the African continent, and even here in America, we're starting to feel the effects of America's shrinking influence over the over the world. It's starting to become more multipolar. That's what a lot of geopolitical scientists, I don't know if that's the right phrase, but the experts, a lot of them saying the world is becoming more multipolar. And that being the case, isn't it interesting how French speaking countries are right now starting the revolution in Africa? And like France is once again being the first domino in the revolution of Africans once again. I think that's interesting. Like I'm wondering if it's like not a prophecy, but if it's kind of like, is it that France relies on African oppression so much that they're always going to be the first to fall, and like France is who we should watch to know what's going to happen to the rest of the West? For example, Florida is what you should be looking at if you want to know what's going to happen to the rest of the United States. If you want to know what's going to happen to the United States in the next 50 years, look at Florida. Florida, anything that's going to happen to America is going to happen to Florida first. COVID was crazy in Florida. Corruption is crazy in Florida. Police brutality is crazy in Florida. Florida is like the nose of the Titanic, like that fell first. Like whoever started sinking first. I'm not sure if it was the nose, but yeah, that's where the iceberg hits. It's just interesting because I see once again France taking the fall first. I don't know how many of y'all seen the Niger president's. I don't know how many of y'all seen the Niger president's speech that he gave. I'm thinking about making a video on it. I don't know how to dance around it to make it more interesting, because everything I try to do, I try to make it more palatable for us Americans to consume. But basically, he gave a speech talking about how they're really creating a United States of Africa, starting with their three countries, Burkina, Niger, and Mali. Like the three of them are coming together to really kind of set a precedence, but also form a union that could, align with the best interests of African people across the board. And we've never seen that, y'all. We've never seen that. Like, never seen that. So,
Brother Legend, I think that is one of the myths that is that I think the education system has been part and parcel in like spreading the idea that like white people woke up one day and decided that they no longer wanted to make money from their slave colonies, and that slavery was, and that they suddenly had a moral epiphany, and that slavery was a moral wrong. And I think that doesn't that doesn't point out what was happening at the time. What was happening contemporarily at the time is that you had continued slave revolts all across America and all across the Caribbean islands. And what was happening is that you were having these slave revolts becoming more frequent, more severe, and larger in their scale. And it's not a coincidence that within the following decades, after the Haitian Revolution, you had the American Revolution, because the American Revolution was directly inspired by the Haitian Revolution. And I think when you look at actually like what happened, like when there was increasing slave revolts in their size and scale across America right before Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. And if you look at what was happening in the British colonies right before the abolition of slavery, is that they had just 2 years before the abolition of slavery, you had 60,000 strong slave revolt in Jamaica. Like these, you can't remove the context of what was happening at the time from
Yeah.
from what happened. And I think if if the premise that people put forward is true, that Europeans felt so morally maligned by slavery that they stopped it because it was a moral epiphany that they had, then these people wouldn't have doubled back and gone to colonize Africans in Africa, which is basically slavery on in these people's land. If it was a moral epiphany, if you can't have these people, France, Britain, and all these countries abolish slavery and then double back to Africa to go and colonize them. I thought if you had the epiphany about the value of human life and the value of African life, how can these same people go back to enslave Africans on the continent of Africa just within a decade? So you have to have. I think you have to really look at the historical context of what was happening during the abolition movement and what happened directly after the abolition movement, because it tells a story of an absence of morality.
Mm-hmm. What you just said is what really woke me up to that whole thing, and I started researching it more and more. But Dr. Frances Cress Welsing speaks on that. She says she talks about it. She says if there was a moral epiphany that freed our ancestors, then we wouldn't have racism, white supremacy still operating today, right? Because there would have been no Jim Crow. There would have been nothing else. All the systems of oppression,
Exactly.
the 9 areas of people activity would have stopped.
For the legend, you you could not have mass incarceration with millions with hundreds of thousands of people doing penal labor. You could not have you could not have the 13th Amendment where you specifically carve out an aspect of your founding document to make sure that you could still effectively enslave people within the prison system if the abolition of slavery and the Emancipation Proclamation was a moral epiphany. It wasn't. It was this was people facing the economic reality of, hey man, we can't control these slaves forever, and these revolts are becoming increasingly scary. I think you have to look at historically and economically what was happening at the time. There was no moral epiphany, and the history of America since has shown again and again there was no moral epiphany. Because if there was a moral epiphany, you couldn't have had the vagrancy laws and the Reconstruction laws where they were picking up people for loitering and for doing petty crimes and throwing them into prison for years and years and years. You couldn't have had the Jim Crow and the racial terrorism that you had of black people being lynched in their thousands and terrorized by the KKK and similar organizations.
All right, you gotta be careful. But yeah.
Oh, sorry. So you couldn't have had mass incarceration. You couldn't have had the terrorism of Oklahoma and other middle class communities across America. You couldn't have had any of these things. You couldn't have had the police brutality that we face till today. You couldn't have had the disparities in our healthcare system, in our housing system, blah blah. I could go into every system. These things wouldn't exist if it was a true moral epiphany. It wasn't. This was people reacting to an investment that they made that had become increasingly volatile. Period.
Yeah. Because if it was moral, then you would focus on impact instead of just intention. Let me go to Kay. She's been waiting patiently. What's good, sister?
Hey, oh no, you good? I've been listening to y'all, drop some gems. They definitely sound great, and I agree with everything because hey, it was nothing but facts. But I mean, you touched on that I can't even say it, multipolarity a minute ago, and set by foreign policy, and I think that will be a very interesting future because if I know anything about multipolarity, if I could say it, it's saying that there only needs to be two states to control dominance of power. And I'm like, based on where the resources are in the world, and how much people are needing them from a certain location, if you know what I mean. If the two states in that location have the upper hand in the future, which I'm already seeing because we see the shifts, like we see
Mm.
the changes already. I'm like, man, the world is gonna look so different. Like I am optimistic for real because a lot
Right.
of the things that everybody else needs in the Western world, the European world, y'all need them. Like the way that's gonna look, man, it's gonna turn y'all upside down and y'all don't even know it. Like you said, look at France already seceding. And it's like if a bigger power at be like that, like you said, one of the first to go, like that speaks volumes, you know. Like you said, this is unprecedented and I don't even think people even understand the gravity of what
Hmm.
comes for that. But you know, I'm like, yeah, they trying to get me out here. I'm speaking the truth, ain't I? Look, nah,
Man, I ain't worried about them.
but nah, I just think it's just really crazy because most people don't even look into geopolitical, you know, situations right now as far as politics, especially in America. Like we know more about the NBA and stats of a player from the 1976 era of gameplay than we know about what's going on in the White House, and it stifles me. I'm like, I can't.
What they call
Why?
that? False knowledge.
Yeah, man.
I seen somebody give a speech on that on my TikTok. I don't know who this brother was, but he was talking about false knowledge and how they will fill our heads with knowledge of hip hop, knowledge of gossiping going on, celebrities, and they'll teach you all of this stuff, but you don't know nothing about the civilizations of ancient Africa. You don't know nothing about the reason why we speak the way we do, the reason why we eat the foods we do. You don't, you know what I'm saying? Like we got all this false
Hmm.
knowledge. Sports, oh my goodness, I hear it from the brothers all the time. It's so, to me, as someone that's not a sports fan, is weird as hell. They will know what this man ate for breakfast, who he slept with last night, what how long it took him to piss in the morning. I'll be like, bro, how do you know oh yeah, last game he had 2.3 rebounds and you know what I'm saying? This many assists and that many, all these numbers. Like, how you know all these? That's weird. It's real. I'm not that obsessed with men that I'm gonna sit around and even think like this. It's sickening. You could have real actual knowledge, but instead you're filling up your mental computer. Your brain computer is what Dr. Francis Cress Welsing called it. Your brain computer, you're filling it up with false knowledge.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I sometimes it, like I said, it is it's stifling and baffling that people can be that way, and then when you say something else outside of the realm of that, like, you know, hey, what do you think, you know, we can do, you know, to hold ourselves more accountable? Like, you know, even with basic skills like communication, right? Or relationships. Like they say some crazy junk, you know, like then they start
Yeah.
bringing out the gender roles and stuff. I'm like, what, bruh? What? You hold on, wait. I'm like, bruh, it's just
Yeah.
I don't understand. I'm like, why are you getting offended? But you know all of this about one man, and then wonder why people say things about who you are as a person because you're so specific about it. Like you said, I don't know what a man in the '70s in the first NBA draft was wearing and why his suit was
Mm-hmm.
so big, but like you know they can tell you it do get me. And then I was gonna say make a point about y'all spoke on the fabric of America, you know, and how they destabilize all the countries they need the resources for in colonization. But it just makes me think about too how, you know, the privatization of prisons, like the fact that they do that and profit so much, it
Mm-hmm.
makes me think that regardless had the 13th Amendment been instituted in the way it had, they would have found a way around it to institute that same systemic matter in just a different way. Because I think about it too in the work system, right? Who are the people
Mm-hmm.
working the most menialist jobs, the cheapest paying jobs? It's
Mm-hmm.
not the higher class, I tell you that. It ain't all the people who look like me, cause I can tell you right now, if I go to, you know, like a fast food chain, like most of those, the lower class ones, they're in the neighborhoods that don't have you know, actual grocery stores. They have food deserts or like you know
Mm-hmm.
or a liquor store like And I can go to those, and don't get me wrong, there won't be nobody behind the counter that look like me, but it's somebody in my community taking money from somebody that look like me to give them a poison that makes them more docile and submissive, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, bruh, if y'all had not made that like punished by crime, because I think of crime like, I'm trying to be a lawyer, but crime is based on what society deems as deviant because it's a social matter, right? So it's like, had y'all not deemed the certain things that people go through in poverty, like stealing a crime, as a social thing, right? Y'all would find another way to demonize us. Like, oh God, like our
Mm-hmm.
women were sitting back during the wars, and then they had, brothers on the front lines, and they told them, nah, y'all got to keep working. Nah, y'all can't sit down because they were receiving the paychecks and they could live. They were like, "Oh, we fine. We don't need to work in the laundromat for you, massa. We can stay down here." But they got mad, so they put it out that, hey, it's a law. If you not working, and you a sister and a brother, baby, best believe we finna be on your neck. Oh, and y'all can't
Mm-hmm.
receive benefits no more. Like,
Mm.
I'm just like, that's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
I was just thinking deeper on what y'all are saying, but y'all are spitting nothing but gems. So, I
Mm-hmm.
definitely touch in
Okay, I
again
did
the
not hear
moment.
gems in the process of me being here.
Oh yeah, no, oh yeah, no, hold on, hold on, not from everybody. Wait a minute, some of them was spitting nothing but garbage. You right? Mm-hmm.
I did a whole facial and I was listening while I was doing my facial.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Hey man, appreciate you, Sister K. And yeah, my wife just bought some like oil for your face, and I didn't use it yet, but I'm gonna let y'all know how this go, cause I don't know. We gotta get some from you,
Tell her,
D. Don't
tell
you?
her,
You
tell her.
have some, right?
Yep. Tell her we got to talk because I'm not a proponent of oil. Oil is a sealant. So if you're not moisturizing before, you're locking in dry skin. Be very careful because people. Okay, so I'm gonna give a.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just give my little tidbit 1 second. I don't know if y'all noticed, but like 2 years ago, everybody was trying to do skincare. It was a skincare thing. Everything was based on just pouring oil into a jar. And so it's a very dangerous thing because oil is literally a sealant. And you'll have people
Mm-hmm.
saying, this is an oil cleanser. Well, the thing about oil cleanser is if you use an oil cleanser, you need to come back with a foaming cleanser that will actually break the oil up. Otherwise, you're allowing that oil to not only sit and seal up your pores, but it's also sitting and it can become something that grabs everything else, the debris, the dirt that's in the air, and it literally sits on your skin. So it creates a level of a buildup on your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like tell
Wait, so you think people should use like coconut oil,
no,
or like
no. Coconut oil
what
is a clog.
what kind of oil like hydrates your
Okay,
skin?
so if you want the closest thing to your actual skin, you need jojoba oil. Jojoba oil is the only thing that's a thin form.
Oh, I
That's
heard of
actually
that.
a good moisturizer. If you're using coconut oil, use it on your body. Your body is a different mass. It can endure and take on more. If you're using
Mm-hmm.
coconut on your face, it is a cloggant. It will fully like just like you see in the jar. It will go from a smooth oil to hardening up. It's gonna do that in your pores. It's a
Wait,
cloggant.
so you got all that in your bio?
On my Skin Exco page.
All right. Wait, no. I mean, is it on this page?
Some of my work is on this page, but on my skincare page is
Oh, okay.
yeah,
What's the name of the page?
Skin Exco. I'll put
Skin
it. I'll
X.
put it in the chat. Hold on. It's
All right,
skin.
yeah. You need to put it in the Discord.
I
No,
just tried to. Do you know I just tried to sign back into that thing? And it's giving me a headache trying to just get back on the app of Discord. It's weird.
darn. All
So
right.
I'll
Well, I
figure it
mean,
out.
yeah. I mean, there's people in there that would probably support you
Heck yeah.
too. I mean, yeah. All right.
Nah,
Well, the
D
more
gonna
you
scare
know.
me.
I don't use coconut oil anymore. I did at one point. But that was when I was young.
Even
Nah, she
Um,
about to rearrange our whole skincare routine. She's scaring
yeah.
me.
No,
I feel like I need one.
your
I never seen.
skincare. What?
I don't really do anything. I'm just joking.
I
She
feel
gonna
like
tell
I
me I
need one.
clog mine. I use Vaseline. That's it. That's the only like thing I will use on my skin.
Ooh,
But it's not the Vaseline brand. It's more like petroleum. So it's for like the baby skin, the
you putting
petroleum
the
one.
jelly in your face.
I do only a little bit though. Only a little bit. I mean, because my skin is never usually dry. Like, if you have pretty oily, it's like I don't really ever have to,
Yeah, I'm about to say she light skin. That skin more
You would be
oily.
a proponent of my gel moisturizers or my oil-free moisturizer.
Ah,
Like,
okay. So that dry. Okay, that
right.
makes sense.
So they're like, I literally make everything myself. So when it's kind of funny, like when people be like, "Are you serious? You should go live." So I like once I get all this stuff set up, I'll go live and make my products because people never believe me until they actually come in my house. Because let me see, I'll show y'all. Hold on. Don't judge me though. Do not judge me in this moment. Let me see if I can turn my camera around. Okay, so this is my kind of kitchen area right now. And
We can't see none.
y'all
Got
can't?
per save.
Shit. Okay, hold there.
Okay.
Oh shit. Okay. So right now I'm restocking everything. My boxes have my jars in them, and I've had to sanitize all of this stuff. This is how I'm gonna make all my waters that will be infused with herbs. And
You
then
look like you would have nice couches. You just sound like you would have nice
Right.
couches.
I was about to say, I'm judging
couches
you.
are
I'm
not
judging
nice.
you. Your
Judging.
house
Ah,
is
look
so
at the
nice.
Christmas
I'm
tree.
judging you.
Let's go.
Like,
Because people don't. They're like, "Oh, you really make it yourself?" Okay, don't judge me. But this is my soap room.
Wow.
So yeah,
Oh, yeah, you working.
in trouble. But yeah, so it's a lot.
That's fine.
man, this is a lot. Then I must have too much, cause ain't no way. That is beautiful. I love that.
That is great.
Now, let me turn this damn camera off. Where did I go?
I've been,
Why do I just see a
I've been
plus
using
sign
her
for me?
products.
Yeah,
I've been using her
we need to
products for.
support D, y'all. We got buy some of this oil. I mean this skin stuff that she got.
Can y'all hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah, we hear you, T.
Oh, I was saying I've been using her stuff. It's been like a year now, D.
Yeah, maybe two, Tia. Because when we were on Clubhouse, that was almost 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Oh, so
maybe like.
y'all ain't just
And
tell us
she,
though, right?
her, no, we talked about it on here before. I used to have severe eczema as a kid, but since COVID started, it's been very bad again. It's been coming on my face, so I couldn't wash my face with anything because everything burned. So she helped me rebuild a whole new skincare routine to help with everything, and I've been using her face wash almost exclusively for like 2 years. It's helped so much. So y'all should definitely check it out. Can't get any better than somebody who actually knows what they're talking about, and they're making the stuff from scratch. Like, you can see all the ingredients that are on there, and if you have any issues, that's a lot of the problem with stuff that's on the market. You don't know what's in it, or it's confusing. The stuff that she's using is stuff you can pronounce. Like, it's not super complicated.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I think they might pronounce that oil. They gonna say that's jojoba. Cause
Yeah, I've heard jojoba.
yeah,
I've heard jojoba, jojoba.
yeah. No, but I love that. Thank you for letting me know. Though I would love to try that though, D. For real. I'm always with switching it up, especially with you.
Yeah, I need something because I never seen my father take care of himself, and I'm on like a learning how to self-love thing in my personal life. And so, my wife got me like lotioning myself more. I just be dry. I don't give a damn. I don't know. My father didn't give a damn, so he didn't teach me to give a damn about like myself. Like,
Did you hear
you
what
know
I
what I'm
said,
saying?
brother? I
What?
took you into my office.
Oh, okay. Let me see the off. Hold on.
You know what, D? That's needed for us, though. Having an esthetician that understands our skin.
Oh, wow.
And what's going to benefit our skin is so necessary. Like, there's been so many times where, it's probably the area that I live in.
Clients.
Look at that. Yeah, no, you hustling.
So yeah,
I was about to say we needed to see this. Most people don't think this is actually achievable. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, a lot of people I know, they not even near this level. Like, I don't,
for real.
like they don't.
this is bad because this isn't even my photography equipment, y'all. Because I do photography too.
She do photography. She does
Hey, you waited this long to tell us these things.
You're
She
not
sure
branding
did.
yourself right. You do. She do photography. She do skincare. She like actual skincare, like the facials and stuff like that. She makes skincare. She does lashes. She does makeup. I don't know a person who hustles more than this lady. She is always working. Always working.
Yeah. Well, that explains the gift of gab, because I definitely, I definitely got what do they call that? Highly not motivated, but high functioning, someone that's ambitious, not ambitious. Dang, I can't find the right word, but it's one of those like highly
Intrinsic?
self-motivated vibes from D. Like she seemed like, you know what I'm saying?
Like intrinsically motivated. Is that the word? Intrinsic?
That's not what I'm looking for, but that's close to what I'm trying to say. Like the vibe is like I'm a go-getter. You know what I'm saying? I got sisters that's go-getters in my family. And shout out to the sisters that's out here getting it, man. You know what I'm saying? Nah, that's dope. D, you gotta put it on your page, and you gotta put it in the Discord, because if it's for Black folks, the Discord gonna love it. You gotta drop it in there. I could drop it in there too, but it's better if you drop it in there so they can ask you questions. You could,
Trying to get that account back.
yeah.
I was like, what the hell? Why can't I get on my Discord? But I'll figure it
Yeah,
out
I'll
tonight.
make you an account if like like it just sends you the email address and just give you the password. You need to be in there because there's it's mostly sisters, so I know they'll love what you got going on. It's mostly sisters. Shout out to the sisters, man. Y'all be holding y'all started this whole platform because to be honest, brothers like myself are not on TikTok. I wasn't on TikTok for the longest. I didn't give a damn. And then the Black woman follow train started this whole thing. I didn't, and that's why we're misrepresented so much as Black men. A lot of us are not on the internet like that, like this. You know what I'm saying? We might scroll past some stuff, put the phone down, go back to work, watch a ball game, something like that. A lot of us are not going live. So when you go on these lives and you see these toxic dudes, talking this mess that no Black man that you ever really approach in real life is gonna really, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say no Black man. We know they're out there. I'm just saying a majority of us would not say things like she deserved to get hit with a brick. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna say that in front of people, like in real life, and even when it's only men there, like we're not saying these type of things because those men don't make content, unfortunately. And I noticed that because I've asked people, I'm like, they'd be like, oh, I wish there was more brothers out there that was talking about the topics that you talk about. I'm like, they out there. It's just, how many brothers do you know really go live on TikTok? How many brothers do that? Like, I was in the music industry for a long time. I've been going live strictly as a replacement for my addiction to making beats. I made beats every day for 10 years. And so I just stopped doing one thing and started focusing on my own platform, spreading knowledge that I already knew and was continuing to learn. So that's all this is for me, is just a replacement for making beats. So, but
Well,
every brother, you don't do that. Go ahead.
I would
Kay.
say nah, but I feel like you though, brother, you a different brother. Cause like other brothers, I hate to say it, but like some of the certain podcasts and the way that this algorithm presents it, like you said, like there are brothers out there that are like you, like for real, but the way they present it, they make a lot of people believe that that's all that's out there. Cause that's all
Yeah.
that they show. They show those certain
Right.
podcasts. And the brothers with actual vulnerability and the capacity to learn, they don't get to be on there for real. Cause like
Right.
I seen that man on here who was like reading books and he was teaching himself to learn how to read. And I'm
Oh yeah,
like,
I seen
even
that.
that. I was
Yeah.
like, that brother is strong. Cause,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's one thing to admit your faults, but it's one thing to admit them in front of so a wide of an audience. And especially as we know how these folks act, bro. Like,
Right.
they wanna, oh well, they wanna put you in a category and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's kinda crazy. But it's just, I wish there were a lot more, I'm not trying to call you an anomaly, but it's sad because like a lot don't, have that capacity to be vulnerable or even expand their horizon. Because even
But I'm
though it's like,
saying, like,
yeah.
think about it. Like, I'm a married man approaching his mid 30s. How many of us, you
Mm-hmm.
know, we got families. We already deep into our career. We already, you know what I'm saying? We're not coming on lives. Not the guys I know that's married and in my age range. Like, they got their kids they thinking about, even their relationship with their wife might not, it might be things they got going on, and certain things they not really thinking about. They more focused on surviving.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it would be one
I've
thing
had
if again
time.
they weren't
Yeah,
on TikTok and they could go
my,
into the community, but they,
what makes me what sets me apart is I've had time because I made music. I had time to do nothing but sit around, think, and learn because I wasn't punching in every day. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. Like right now, I'm currently working a job strictly for one reason: to save money to start my next business venture, which is which is going to be starting next year. So you see what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
Like I'm always an entrepreneur. I'm not like so that being the case, shoot, there was times when my music was making enough. I ain't have nothing to do but sit around and watch a Dr. Umar video or a lecture from some of the scholars, John Henry Clark, and certain people. So you know that's the thing. I had time to do this.
I mean, I hope the system get better to get, because again, I said I'm optimistic, so hopefully it gets
Yeah, I
better
hear
to
you.
where there's a time where we ain't just focused on surviving. Because I feel you. Like I said, it's not. I'm not blaming them. I just said they don't get to have the capacity to be vulnerable because
Yeah.
they don't. They literally don't. Not only like is there a double standard in society that says no, don't express your emotions, and they hyper masculinize black men especially, which is why a lot of people take on that role or identity of a black man when they want to act masculine, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
But it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like, bro, they don't even get to like say their regular emotions without having some semantics thrown at them about what they should be or why they're not that. So it's just sad. I hope, I'm optimistic, but I feel you,
Word.
man.
Yeah. Tia, what's up?
Can you hear me? It keeps saying I have a low
We
connection.
hear you. You
Okay.
loud to me.
There was a few things that y'all were talking about that I wanted to respond to, but I can't remember exactly what it was that y'all said. But one of the things where I think it was you, brother, who was mentioning like some people not having a desire to learn about like some of our history, or I really wish I could
Well, I
remember,
wasn't saying the desire. What I meant was they have
or
more,
haven't done it yet.
yeah, like they have more upfront priorities than to unpack, how, or I was even before you get to unpack it, just relearning African customs and learning
Yeah.
about some of the things that I know, that led me down the unpacking. Like
Mhm.
I didn't unpack patriarchy because I wanted to be a better man. I learned more about African uh societies and how our family structure was then. Falling in love with Africa led me down a path where I had to let go of patriarchy because now I see how it's harmful, you
Mm.
know?
Yeah. I guess it's maybe what that those comments made me think of, I guess is a better way to say it. Because I'm not really sure where this, like, what we jokingly refer to as like the pretendian like group comes from. I don't know what sparked it, but I've noticed
Mm.
that there's like an extreme effort to distance oneself from anything that has to do with Africa. It's like my ancestors don't come from there. That ain't my history. We was here before. And even if that's, and I don't necessarily doubt that that is true, but it's like, how do you know that your specific people was here before versus like brought over, and they could never seem to answer that question. But in addition to that, it's kind of like n- I'm trying to
Mm.
not say not wanting to, but like maybe like dismissing history that is not directly a result of like slavery, if that makes sense. And
Dismissing
like
history that's not a direct result. Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
like I'm really trying to avoid saying want or desire, but you know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
there was I think it was in Kwan's live earlier today. There was a young lady in there who not really sure what she was responding to, but she was making some comments about like she was frustrated about like the movies and stuff. And I hear that conversation a lot, but I often hear it from people who don't actually know the history. So it's like you're frustrated with seeing movies that portray or that seemingly only portray one part of our story, which I can understand, but it's also a part of our story that you don't know. So like, and I'm not saying that all people don't know it, but you know, like the people who are loudest about that frustration seem to be also the people who know the least about our collective history. And that to me is a little
Right.
odd. Like it'd be a little different if you knew it already and you're like, there's so much more to us than just this narrative. Like I would get that. But I always find that very interesting. And when you when you made that point about like the French being the first to fall before, and then it's seeming like they're the first to fall again now. I thought that was such an interesting point, and it made me think about the French Caribbean, because 2 of the 4 countries in the French Caribbean are not even independent. They're technically departments of France still to this day. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been to both of them and had a chance to talk to a number of the locals about it, like just curious as to like, is there a push for independence? And most of the people said no. And then I was curious as to why, like why do you not want to disassociate? And the part of the reason why I thought the point that you made was so interesting was because I think a lot of us as African people are torn between staying connected to our oppressors because of what we benefit from them, and fearing what's on the opposite side of disconnecting. Like
Right.
for disconnecting could mean, and this is what a lot of them in the 2 French Caribbean islands that I've been to expressed, is that if we were to become independent, we are going to look like the rest of the Caribbean. That was
Haiti.
literally what they said. And
Haiti.
what'd you say?
Haiti.
Yeah. And
Haiti is
and not
I'm
even
scared of being Haiti.
Yeah, and not even just them, but like you could really pick any of the other islands. And yes, to Tolio. Yes, I've been to Guadeloupe and Martinique several times. But yeah, and I couldn't even be mad at them because it's like I understand both sides of it. Like there's a liberation to being free, but then there's also a cost to being free, and there's a cost to being free when you're Black. And unfortunately for a people in a country like Haiti, there's a punishment to being free, and they've been collectively punished by several nations, not even just France, for the better
Yeah.
part of over 100 years. Like in every
Mm-hmm.
way possible. You've destroyed their economic foundation, like everything, and then gone in to do a bunch of nefarious things even to this day. So I can understand the trepidation to it, but it's like, and it's not really a but, it's more like an and. Collectively for us, if we are more afraid of disconnecting than we are of staying connected, like how do we ever reimagine like our conditions or like who we are as a people or where we could go if we're more afraid of what freedom could look like or the cost of freedom than we are of our current lived experience? And I don't have any answers to that, and it's not a judgment, it's just a thought. Like it really made me think about that immediately when you made that connection between
Mm-hmm.
historic France falling and present day France falling. I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, everybody's scared to be Haiti, man. Haiti's the one that freed themselves, and they've been making an example out of Haiti ever since. So, the African version of that would be Zimbabwe. Um, like, or I mean, yeah, Zimbabwe specifically is just when I learned more about their history, I was kind of like, oh, this like Haiti. It's the same thing. The United States to this day, post Obama, still has sanctions on Zimbabwe since they liberated themselves. Like, that's wild. Like, we had a whole Black president, and he didn't lift from Africa, and he didn't lift the sanctions on Zimbabwe that was imposed just because they want to be in solidarity with the European country that colonized them. So it's ridiculous. But anyway, BMGR4 or something, the BMGR4, are you here? Are you here, person? The BMGR 420 shop? I'm not sure. I think this person might have joined by accident. It was like a lot of noise. But I'm gonna go, y'all. I actually have something I promised I would handle tonight, so I gotta go. But I'll be back tomorrow. I told y'all tonight was kind of like a chill night. I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, so we might stay up late. You know what I'm saying? Have a Pan African sleepover. Appreciate y'all for the gifts. Peace and love to all the family. Thank you to my guests, man. Shout out to Dia. I'm sorry, Dia. Diva, Black Swan, Kay, and Tia. D, find a way to get in the Discord so we can
I'm gonna
support
figure it
you.
out tonight.
Please. Okay, great. And then yeah, thank y'all for coming up. And be careful up in these lives, man. Mellow spirit, peace, Queen.
Look
We
at the
about
chat.
to dip. You said, look at the chat. Yeah,
What's
they already
Swan,
know.
bro? Swan.
Look at the chat. They are so petty.
Yeah, that's what they talking about. Yeah, you taking care of business, y'all. I already know.
And appreciate you, Alicia. What y'all laughing at? Hold on.
Thank you. You don't see the chat?
Right.
Hold on, what y'all talking
They
about?
be waiting to say that. That's how I know y'all is some petty people.
Nah.
People be acting like I'm bad, but they in the
Y'all ain't say nothing. What y'all saying? I'm taking a shower? I
no,
don't know
they
what y'all
telling the
talking
people to get in the tub. You're welcome.
about. They
The
talking about
soap
them.
and the
Okay.
tub.
I thought y'all knew what I was about to do.
No,
All right.
I'm on the same page you on, brother. That's what I thought they was talking about. They talking about getting wet. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute.
Wow.
That's why I said the shower. Like, wait, cause
Okay, go sit down.
no,
Go in the
wait. Brother said it, not me.
Get in the corner. He promised he was gonna do some things. Y'all go tap that screen like brother's gonna tap. Let me stop playing. All right.
Hey,
So you guys, we want to thank you all for stopping in and stopping by. I was actually not even really being able to be attentive today. I was kind of busy. But you guys make sure y'all come back to Brother Legends Live. You know, when you're in Brother Legends Live, you get turned up. You get a little education and you might get showed up too, if I'm talking anyways. But anyways, you guys have a great night. And to all the people that are not black, woo! Make sure you hop in that tub before you hop in black business. Good night.
All right, y'all. Peace, man. I'm gonna go clap my wife.
thank you.